Thank you for joining us for this episode of Tales from the Ten Lands. Before we get started, I should let you know that there are going to be a couple rougher than usual cuts in this episode. The main computer used for the live stream crashed several times. We have done our best to make the edits as appealing as possible. So, without further ado, welcome to this short draft episode of Tales from the Ten Lands. Hello, everyone. I'm going to get this muted down here. Welcome to a very special episode of Tales from the Ten Lands. This is a short draft story that is I guess you would call it I want to say epitaph. The chapter a little bit after the last chapter.
The epilogue?
Yeah, epilogue.
Epilogue, yeah. Epitaph is what you throw on someone's gravestone. I ain't dead yet.
No, my brain is not at 100%. I've been doing a lot of
Yeah, that's all
specific
right.
work
Mine
stuff.
neither. I have to prep an entire dungeon tomorrow for
Oh,
this weekend.
joy.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the epilogue. This is among the epilogues for book one of our Tales from the Ten Lands story.
Yep.
And this particular one is featuring Skad, if it wasn't obvious.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. No, this one is actually featuring Izzy. No, I'm just kidding.
Is it bold of me to assume that you wanted to do a bit of a monologue on your walk into town?
it
Or like on your walk from the manor to the town?
Yeah, I guess if we're ready to go. It was mostly just kind of describing the journey. Um
Yeah, because anything else that anyone wants to see, that video went live today.
Yep, I
So
saw it.
this the Wednesday of this recording,
Mhm.
uh, which if you're watching this on YouTube, just scroll down a little bit.
Yeah, it should be out in the we could put a link in the doobly doo.
Yeah, we'll probably put a link at the doobly doo.
All right. Yeah. I think the biggest thing is Scott's kind of not sure what's going on with him. Like he's been through so much in these past just really couple of weeks. Um Met new comrades, nearly died, made a deal with a vampire baron, dove down deep into some mines, uh, found out one of the party members had a crush on him. Still processing that one. Um, and a lot just happened. And then one of the party members who he was hoping to become a closer friend with started feeling some camaraderie with. They had been called home, and Scott's just kind of been left holding the bag of all these disparate pieces of everything that's been happening to him. Um, he really doesn't know what he's supposed to do, what he's really called to do as part of this. Like he knows his what his job was, and oh, he should probably do that. So we're picking up finding Scott on the road back home. Um, for those that haven't had a chance to pick up on it by this point, um, Scott had actually been employed, for lack of a better term, by another individual, which we may find out more about tonight. Um, in addition to doing their day job within Mandan and the work they were doing there, they were basically just, they were like a journalist, we can say. They were providing information back to this person, to this individual. and they had basically been loyal to this person for most all of his life. Um, and these past few days have just been so hectic. He hadn't had a chance to face the fact that he made a deal with another super powerful individual, um, the vampire baron Dumont, one of the ancient titans. And he's still processing what that means and what he wants to look into that. And part of it, I think, just came to a head when he was meeting with the curator, sitting down, basically saying, I don't know what I want, because he's been wrestling with that. What does Skad Utand of the Purple Rose want? So the curator asked for his bow. He gave it over and gave an arrow. Doesn't know what that is. So all Scott has are the two short swords left. One normal one that he's had, one he bought at a shop somewhere, and then one they found in the mine. Now, granted, he hasn't formed any special attachment to these weapons yet. Um, and he's out on the road in his new adventurer's coat that was left behind by said friend, and underneath it, kind of uncomfortable. He's spending the couple of days trip back getting used to the new studded leather armor. He got a bit of gold, so he sold back his old leather armor, kind of upgraded to get a little bit better protection as things are going on. And he's just spending this trip. It's just a lot of time of contemplation, a lot of quiet, and just seeing the world around him and thinking, spending some time practicing with the swords, trying to get the weight of them, getting familiar with it because he doesn't have his bow right now. He's still got some arrows, but and then maybe like he knows when he gets back home, there's some more bows and stuff there. Maybe he can figure something out, or he's just it is just a cacophony of thoughts and indecision the entire trip. But 2, 3 things pop up every now and then. It'll be good to get home, say hi to mom. I have to report in to the Duchy of Twilight. You know what? Maybe I should see what Skirp is up to. This continues for, you said it was a 2-day trip, I believe,
Yes. Uh,
from
two
from
and a
Dustin
smidge.
to, yeah, 2 and a smidge. Um, Scott takes it easy. Doesn't work too hard, but occasionally, pushes through, um, because he wants to make sure he gets there in time. And I think we find ourselves, it's getting pretty dark, but not because the sun has fully set. It's most it I think the sun is setting, but it's really dark where we are because we find ourselves deep, deep in the woods. And it's getting darker and darker until it doesn't. And we find ourselves as Skad finally picks up a little worn dirt path that turns to gravel, to the occasional cobblestone, and rounds a tree into a clearing. And Scott smiles. It's almost like the branches kind of make an archway, a gate into the town, because that's what this is. This is a little village, a little town in the midst of the woods, and warm candle and lantern light is everywhere. Um, there are various huts and houses, some built in the clearings, little smoke coming out of smokestacks. Some built uh right up along some of the trees because some of these trees are massive. We're talking California redwood. We're talking huge
Hmm.
trees. Some of the houses are built up against, and some have stairs spiraling up, built into the trees, not grown out of them. These aren't, maybe there's one or two elves in the village, but most of the population is goblin. Um, you might have an elf or two here and there, um, maybe some elemental descended individuals, humans, orcs, dwarves, very a smattering of those, but most of the village is goblin. Um, and there's just sounds and uh, of relaxation and uh, from uh, children playing in the fields and footsteps going across wooded slats. Because if you look up, you actually see more houses. There's multiple levels, not all of them even. Some walkways crossing between some of the houses, some of them actually built up into the trees, some in some of the tree branches, some down low, and then way up at the top, you got this tiny little hut of this weird old hermit that nobody knows what to do with. Um, uh, it- they call him the old bird man because he's always hanging out up there. Um, but Skad steps into this glade and breathes in and smells the wet grass, the moss, the fresh flowers, the the sense of home. And he makes his way through almost unnoticed. You know, if you look up, say hi, some don't recognize him. Um, most go about, they're like, "Hey." He gives a nod. "Howdy, how y'all doing? How your mom and him?" Um, and he makes his way through and then tucks off onto this little side path to a modest hut, almost in the shadow of a tree, just off the main thoroughfare. In a nice little shaded spot, there's this modest hut wrapped three-quarters of the way around one of the a smaller tree, but still, you know, ample. There's a nice little smokestack, um, a sort of brick coming up against the wood of the tree and then angled out to push the smoke away so it's not running right up along the side of the tree. Um, warm lights glowing from within. And Scott goes up and he hears noise, clattering of household items, maybe kitchen utensils, maybe other things. And he grips the handle and opens the door, steps inside and says, "Hey, Ma, I'm home. I think it's time I finally report in to see the duchy, but I wanted to say hi to you first."
Astra turns around and smiles. She has her apron on, and in her hand is a bowl of something. You can't fully gather what it is at the moment
Mhm,
because you can tell that she's been cooking at several things for a little bit now.
mhm. I can smell it too.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of the food that she has been leaning into recently
Mm,
is, as we would classify it in our world, as more of an Indian type food.
mm. My sinuses are already burning from the smell of the spices. They're alive.
And you can tell that she's had a good run recently with like finances and all of that. The market
Yeah.
went well despite everything,
Mhm.
because something that you don't see all the time,
Yep.
despite trying to be consistent with it within the diet, yogurt.
Mm. Nice little probiotics to help digestion there.
Like she is doing a yogurt marinade with herbs and
Ooh.
spices on some kind of meat. You're not sure what it is at the
Mm.
moment.
Sweet and savory all at the same time.
And once I got to slide my camera just a smidge. There we go. Much better.
It's called trucking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a minute. Um
I know. I couldn't.
Also today has been a week.
Yeah, no, I'm just being facetious.
I know. But she looks to you and smiles. She sets down the bowl of food
Mm.
and instantly just starts wiping her hands on her apron before pulling it off and walking over to you, giving you a big hug.
I take the big hug too. Is the bowl within arm's reach?
No, she sets to you.
Okay. Dang. So it's just out of reach for me to.
Yeah. You also would know better than to reach in because there's raw meat in there.
Oh, I thought that was some of the yogurt, but okay. Yeah, yeah.
No, like
Okay.
she's doing the yogurt is in with the herbs and the spices and
Okay.
the
So that's
meat.
over there.
Like
Oh.
this is
Oh,
all
it's
getting
a we're making a
processed.
meatloaf.
No,
Or
no, it's
we're making a mixed combined meat.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's marinating the stuff.
Mhm.
Like this is gonna end up getting set aside for a bit.
Oh, yeah. That makes
You
sense.
have a strong feeling this is not going to be today's meal,
Yeah.
but when
Mhm.
that meal is presented, it's going to be a good one.
Mm, good.
And you got
Maybe I
home
can
right in time
just
for it.
in time. As I give the hug to mom, I just look up to the ceiling. Whatever gods are out there, thank you.
As you look up and whisper that, you see Eclipse just look down at you.
Never mind. I just look down and just a silent prayer that he does not shit on me.
Oh, he knows better than to do that inside.
Yeah, I know, but still. The bird terrifies me.
She hugs you close and whispers softly, I'm so glad you're safe.
Well, I'm home. Safe, I'm not so sure about.
She pulls away and looks at you.
Lots happened, Ma. What time is it? If you got a snack, maybe I can tell you a little bit about it.
You're asking if I have a snack. Have you been
Well,
away
if you
from
got
home
food.
that long? As she
Yeah,
says that, she steps
apparently.
away
Like I said, a lot of
and
shit's happened.
she heads over to a large copper pot and
Ooh.
opens it up and starts fluffing some rice.
Oh.
Pulls that out, brings out a little wooden bowl from right near,
Mhm.
throws some of that in there, as well as a little bit of a bit of beef that has been slow cooking in a pan.
Mm.
Throws that into in with it, and then she pulls up a little tea towel and pulls out a bit of flatbread,
Oh, yes.
rips it in half, then into quarters, and then sets it like on top
Mhm.
and hands you a bowl before making some herself.
I sit down at the table and I wait for her to fix hers because I do not want to get in trouble again for eating before everybody's is at the table.
Well, this is very much a not everyone's going to be at the table kind of.
Well, when she sits, I'm gonna,
Yeah.
that kind
As
of
like
idea.
as she's sitting down, she's taking like one of the quarters and just ripping
Mhm,
off a piece, scooping with her with the bit of bread,
mhm.
scooping a little bit of the meat and the rice together, and just popping that in her mouth
Yep.
as you do.
Um, yeah.
Utensils. That's what we have bread for.
Yeah. I mean, we're polite eating in this town is you don't pick up your plate and just, dump truck it into your mouth. Polite eating is when it stays on the table. Yeah, so we dig in and we get a few bites in, and I think at this point, Scott just needs somebody to listen without judgment, um, or without any, any of their own agendas, I think is the word, because like the other party members he could tell the story about, but they're all going through their stuff. And he knows by this point his mom's probably does have stuff, but at the same time, she's making time for him. And I think he just unloads. Like he starts at the beginning and just describes everything from the surprise attack on Mandan to this group of people he got tied up in, the message one of his friends received from Navarro, the Bard King. Just goes through everything. The meeting the proprietors of the Siren Sanctuary, um, the trip up to Duskin, the job offer, the trip to Dungrave, the getting killed and brought back to life by a vampire titan. And I think after that, he's just like, he takes a few more bites and just lets that news sink in and then continues on the story.
As soon as you mention that, she has set her food down and is just
Mhm,
sitting there like hands folded over themselves.
mhm. Yeah, and he's just like, okay. And he continues about how the bit of magic that he does touch shifted and changed shape, or changed kind of attitude, um going deeper and deeper into the mine. I think he lets slip, like he's talking about all the party members, but he does mention Mithluna a few more times than normal. He does not mention her deal that she experienced, but does mention she got into a spot of trouble, we got out of it. He glosses over that intentionally. Um and but just goes through the story, the vision, the coming out of it. And then he gets to the fight in the other space and how Miss Luna had to save the rest of it, and he catches himself like, "All right, I need to rewind and spill about something I tried to gloss over," and he spills because the only way to explain it. Like, how do you suddenly poof? Oh no, it was fine. Um, and the trip back to Duskin, and then like this is all just like as the food's going in, the words are coming out. Like
Yeah.
he's word vomiting and eating at the same time, and eventually just gets to, and that's why I decided to come here. Have you heard from Skirp? Maybe I can go find him wherever he's at.
Small meta moment
Yes.
for you. It's Duskin Manor.
Duskin Manor.
Yeah.
We'll assume I've said that.
We'll assume that that's how your character's been mentioning. Like, this is for your notes The area
Mm.
that you are in, like Mandan, your village, uh, Dungrave, West Haven, uh, Vesper, and a few other
Mhm.
cities, towns, hovels, and unnamed points along the road.
Yeah.
This area south of
The
the
region is called Duskin, and
yeah
then the
yeah
okay, that
this
makes sense.
yeah
That's right.
this lorddom
Mhm.
is Duskin.
I like the name.
Oh, the entire location.
Yeah, because I originally was going for a Twilight theme and dusk, and I know it was unintentional, but it's still funny.
It's unintentional because something I need to be like bring from here to there is
Mm.
things like Duskin has been the name of this area
Yeah,
since this was originally based on the map of Europe.
yeah.
Like
Speaking of, we just need a whole fucking map.
I am trying to work on
I
it.
know. I will pay 100 in-game gold once you have one made. I just want a
Well,
map.
fun fact, this is just a like big thing for like player
Mm,
and world knowledge. Any map that you get
mm.
is not going to be perfect
Yeah, I know.
and is going to be a the map itself is probably going to be of where they originally live and maybe like two or three other
Very
major points.
localized.
Yeah,
So it's a very patchwork cartography system.
yes. Cuz
I'll add that to the list of things to fix.
like over time, like if you
Yeah.
ever go if you get behind and look into the areas of and you actually see this at least once looking into where um the Adventurers Guild is up at the manor.
Mhm.
They have a genuine like patchwork map of
Yeah.
Duskin. Like,
I mean, that's the reason Canada's borders with the US are so weird. It's because of bad cartography at the time. Yeah. Yeah, it's a thing.
but like the cartography that they have for the like overall map, while it is like several different pieces of paper mapped over each other, like it's at a level to where looking at that map is as accurate as you can get without going into a bird's eye view.
Yeah.
And it was done, you can tell, over lifetimes.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Some people's entire commission within the Adventurers Guild is cartography. So, because people have jobs and you need to take them places.
Mhm.
Yeah, she looks to you and finally, like you didn't notice it until now, but she's been like shallow, quiet breathing since you
I think at this
mentioned being
point, because yeah,
there.
Scott's always just had like he's got a decent perception, and he's has a naturally it does have a decent insight, but I think at this point he was just word vomiting and eating so much because he hasn't had good food. He's been dealing
Yeah,
on trail rations for the while, good food, and then he gets to the end, he realizes his plate's empty, and his plate's empty and his mind is empty, and then he looks up and he's just like, oh yeah, yeah.
yeah. You finally realize that she hasn't like properly taken a breath. Like it, it's only because of your high perception that you realize
Mhm.
that she is still breathing, that she's been
Yeah.
breathing this whole
Yeah.
time, but it's very much a like her shallow
He is
breaths.
hyperventilating.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say hyperventilating. She's just been like,
Yeah, like very, very fast, shallow breaths.
and finally just
Yeah. So like I said, I need to report in.
that will wait. I will send a letter off for you tonight
Okay, I
of
was gonna
that.
head down to the glade and see if I can check in.
Do that in the morning tonight. Skirp is actually in town.
Oh, I haven't seen him
Um,
in years. It's good.
he is. He'll be here for dinner. He's off doing finish up a bit of work.
Good.
Then he'll be here, and tonight we're having dinner. I am going to go and start on a small cake, celebrating the
Okay.
fact that you are alive, because apparently that needs to be a like celebratory thing.
Eh, considering how I'm still alive? By the way, she's close enough, she probably sees the rings of red in
She
my
hasn't
eye.
said anything on that.
Okay. 'Cause um,
You can incite her if you would like.
I would. I'm doing it. Yeah. Um, oh, not bad. That's 17.
17. She is purposefully sidestepping that
She's
particular
like,
part of the conversation.
we'll put a pin in that.
Yeah. I will get
um,
to that after the whole like being happy you're alive thing.
yeah, I'm
Also,
well, I guess I
make
have had a while to process the fact that I died and came back to life. This is still new to you. Sorry. I should have sent a letter. I'm sorry. It's a lot was happening.
well, from how long everything has been for all of it, maybe the letter would have beaten here. I'm not,
Yeah.
but try moving forward to.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I
mean,
need
joining
to.
the Adventurers Guild, while I am not personally big on it myself, uh, I, I I have an affiliation that
Yeah. Yeah. It,
I've
it
worked with, but I
it
know
was
that
a
they
means to an
pass
end.
letters, have them pass letters for you.
Yeah. I should do that now that we kind of have a semi base of operations. Everything was just happening so fast. Like all of them, they're great. They're all wonderful people, but some of them are just, ooh, here, oh, here. It's like herding cats. I love
I
them.
know the feeling. I raised two very adventurous young
What do
boys.
you talk about? I was a perfect little child.
If you were a perfect little child, then
And
how
he
did
just
you grow
breaks and
up
starts laughing.
to be such a?
Dad? I'm a big boy now, mama. You can say it. I can take it.
I'm gonna go get the cake started and make sure dinner doesn't get overcooked. And
I'll
she stands up.
mm. I'm gonna go back to my room and, get all my stuff put away.
All right.
Um, and I go to my room.
As her back turns, she does say one final thing. Like
Mhm.
as her back turns and you're getting to the stairs, she says one final thing of make sure that your bow is hung up by the door. Lets me know you're back.
Oh, about that, I gave it to a extratemporal entity in trade for a future, I guess, magic item. I'm in a bit of a in between state here. Oh, and it pulls out the short swords and kind of hangs them up in the spot. It's very haphazard because they're not meant to fit there.
She looks at the swords and sighs slightly, and because where they're currently sitting is next to her bow.
I know, Ma. I just it's hard for me to hang back with these guys. I don't I wanna make sure that, at least for some of 'em, I stay in between the trouble and them. I'm still figuring out how to do that. And he walks into the tiny little opening. It's not so much of a wide stairwell, it's very steep, almost ladder-like steps that it heads up to his loft. He's just got this tiny little place. It's tucked right up against the tree, very dim, but he pulls out a some tinder and flint and lights the little lantern, and his cozy little room, slanted roof. Um, there's a gabled window there. Scott's got a desk at it. You see, sort of tacked on the wall there, really old pieces of parchment of school age work back when he was a kid, um, that he's kept because they were notes for one thing or the other. He thought he'd need them. The room itself is actually generally, well kept, well organized. Um, there's a bit of a layer of dust on a lot of it, but Scott cleans it off and then peeks out the door back down the stairs, listens, make sure she's not coming, and then he scrambles and then reaches under his bed to a nice little slot that's just attached under his bed frame. Tiny little box opens, pulls out his thieves' tools, pops it open. It's a lockbox with a lost key found in the woods ages ago. Nothing of important, just little keepsakes and memories. And he pops it open, takes out his notebook. There were some loose leaf notes of certain things that he remembered, puts them in there, locks it back, and puts it back away, and then starts taking off all of his stuff, getting his gear out, laying it out so he can just sort of take a look at it and figure out what he needs to take with him. Is he's got all sorts of stuff that he had stuffed in this new adventurer's coat, but some things he keeps on his, he's got his ball bearings, caltrops, his grappling hook, the rope, um, those fine stones. He still has the bag of fine stones. He actually sets them out and finds a little shallow bowl, pours them in so they have a nice little spot in, and he sets it just like on a dresser. It's like, mom will appreciate the decoration. Um, and just gets pulling out all the stuff. And then once it's all out, just looks at everything that just sort of the wreckage of his past few weeks, essentially. The remnants of it, everything that's there. He just sits down on his bed. And I think he backs up against the wall. And I think he just pulls his knees into his chest, wraps his arm around him. And I think just for a while, he just quietly sniffles and cries. Cause I think this is the first time he's just in a place he knows is safe, that he could just let a little bit of emotion out. And he just lets himself be a scared little kid for, you know, the next hour, 2 hours, however long it is, until he's called down for the rest of dinner and cake.
As Skad is waiting to be called down, most of the time just head like at I'm guessing at minimum on knees, if not like in knees.
Well, sitting on the bed, curled up with his legs up, sort of like in the sitting, you know,
Yeah.
yeah. Like not absolutely bawling, because he's not a total wreck. He's just I think he's just letting this time be, let's let's be okay with crying a little. Let's be okay, because it's not about the sad. It's There's just a lot of emotions there. Just a lot's happened, and now he has the time to just dump it all, you
Yeah.
know? to at least just get to release all that emotional pressure from the inside. And by the time that he's called down, he'll have gotten him back together and, like, he's not healed from everything he's been through, but he's not under pressure from it. And he just has a breath so he can kind of think and process through it going forward.
Roll me a perception check real quick.
All right. Yeah, a nice solid middle of the road 15.
Which is, I believe, you're passive as well, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I rolled a 10 on the die.
So you don't notice it at first,
Mm-hmm.
but after a little bit, because you've been mostly just in your head, letting yourself feel your feelings, occasionally looking over the door, waiting to hear the sound of
Mm-hmm.
being called down for dinner. You realize that there's a breeze in the room.
I glance over to the window.
It's open, and sitting at your desk seat, just quietly sitting there.
He's
Like,
got the chair partially leaned back, like the cool kids do. They've got it on the back 2 legs.
yep. And it's perfectly balanced.
Yep. Yeah. He's got
And
his
he's just
feet
sitting
up, just
there
chilling.
calmly, like genuinely calmly watching you. Not a look of judgment, not a look of
Mm.
just a look of I'm here when you need me.
Mm. Um, Scott sees that. Sit, puts the legs down, sits back up. You're a fucking dick, you know that? Don't you know fucking privacy?
Leans forward and the chair lands back down and
Mm.
just lands perfectly, elbows on knees, hands onto chin, just now. If I was to give you all the privacy, that wouldn't leave any for the rest of us in this house.
Privacy's not a zero-sum resource. Oh, shut up and come here, you asshole. He stands up and opens his arms wide.
Skirp stands up and walks over,
Mhm.
gives Scott a big hug,
Yeah, I think he's
and
got a few inches on Scott at least.
yeah, also is like just strong enough to where, like, as he's hugging,
Mhm.
he gets that like extra tight squeeze and arches his back some, bringing your toes
Oh,
off the ground.
yeah. You can. Oh,
Well,
wow.
he does it for like just a moment before letting all of your weight back down onto your legs. Which at this point you've gotten used to this from him.
Yeah, but it's been a while,
Yeah,
It's been a while since anybody has picked Scott up. Oh wait, no. I think I've got to go back and rewatch because I'm trying to remember if but it's been a while since, definitely since Scarp picked him up.
yeah. Especially in this way of like,
Yeah, the little pickup hug. Yeah.
yeah,
Steps back, looks at him. You're not gonna be making fun of me for showing a little emotion because we are adults here. Emotions are normal and valid, right?
absolutely. Like that's why I was sitting here quietly
Yeah.
for a while now.
You forgot to close the window. I just
Oh, I left it open because it seemed like it needed a breeze. The room's been a bit dusty.
yeah,
Let some of
was a little
that.
stuffy. Had a few things on my mind. I basically word vomited on mom.
Did you at least offer a towel afterwards?
She's making us a cake?
So you word vomit on Ma, and then she gets towel.
Oh, I missed the point in the middle where I almost died. Actually, I did die, or I was dying, and,
Do you
I
want me
made a
to
deal with
actually
the
roll this, or are you gonna? Would you like me to just keep this in the RP
I
moment?
think there's a much more emotional tenderness with Scott's mom, but I think with, Skirp, it's just more straight shooting, like, I made a
So
deal with the vampire bear.
like, do you want me to actually have him roll what he's about to
Yeah.
do, or would you just let me, or would you allow the DM the proper fiat of
I think it depends on whether or not Scott would try to resist whatever he's about to try to do.
potentially? Um, roll me an
Because if he's trying to
insight.
take yeah, because if he's trying to take, like, a swing, Scott's gonna, defend himself, and it's gonna be a brotherly scuffle. That is, that is a 24.
24. As soon as you mention the whole dying thing, his like bright, shiny face immediately drops, and you not necessarily see, but you sense his feet like repositioning.
Yeah, I just, like, um, in a blink of an eye, just sort of like a cat springing, I'm back against "Look, it's me, it's still me. I'm still me. I'm okay."
I'm gonna make the roll before you're able
Yeah.
to actually like jump back on this.
Alright. Is it
Uh
a opposed grapple?
no, no.
Oh.
What is your uh
My
what is your dex
AC?
bonus?
Oh, my dex bonus? +4. I have a
Okay.
dex save of +6.
Because I'm assuming that you have taken off armor, stuff like that. You're
Yeah,
just
yeah, so
also
and I was about to calculate that. I
I
basically
sent that
doffed all of it.
yeah. I sent that into a message with you. Do you want you so that way you save a little bit of money on the front end and don't have your leather armor currently?
Well, my idea was while at the Adventurers Guild, I sold my leather armor, got back half, and then I spent because I had plenty of gold to spend on
Yeah.
getting some studded leather.
So a option you could have only is getting back 3/4
Mhm.
and paying the studded leather and 1/4 of the leather armor price. So it's essentially studded leather, and you get 3/4 of your leather armor price back instead of
Alright.
half back. And they're going to add studding to the leather armor that's already fitted to you.
Okay, so it's an upgrade. So, hang on, let me do some math. So I
So
gotta
it's again,
add
you're buying the
45
studded
back.
leather because you're paying for the work and the studs themselves and
Mhm.
and all of that. But instead of having to pay for all of the leather work,
Mhm.
you're paying for almost none of the leather work.
Okay, so I'm just paying, I guess, a quarter of the cost of the studded leather?
More or less,
Because
like
leather armor is 10 gold and studded leather is 45. So, like, I would have effectively spent 40 if I did the normal exchange rate. So,
yeah, it'd say add
maybe the leather would
another.
just take 10 gold off the I would just
You take another uh 2 gold and 5 silver off the cost. It's not a lot,
yeah.
but down the
So
line
7 gold, 5 silver.
is what you would quote unquote get back for selling for selling your leather armor.
Mhm.
And then you immediately because it's like, hey, I want to sell this. I need this done. Okay, the studying work is going to cost. this amount.
Mhm.
And the reason that you wouldn't have it with you is you would have handed it to them, and then within the day or two of getting to the manor, started heading down to your town, and it's going to be finished
By the time I get back, I just don't have any armor right now,
right. And in
except for
this
my
particular interlude
adventurer's coat.
area, you don't need armor.
'Cause I was familiar and I was climbing in trees, hiding. I was mostly stealthing the way back.
Yeah, like you're a solo person who knows the territory
Mhm.
mostly, and you're a ranger. You're a gloom stalker that's at least third level. At
Yeah,
nighttime, you're fine.
yeah.
Like
Like,
you can
I have
sleep through the
athletics
night.
proficiency. Climbing a tree is no problem for me. I'm
Yeah,
up in a tree sleeping. I have alarm actually prepared, so I'm able to prep alarms at night as needed.
yeah. Like you can getting from the manor to town was no problem at all for you. And once you're in
Yeah.
town, you have the town
Yeah.
to protect you. So
So
like,
so I left my armor behind, and then when I
yeah,
finally go back,
when
um
when you meet up with the group, which is going to be a direct route, probably,
yep.
uh,
Because I would
one of the other
leave
members
town. I
will
would
be
probably
give.
swing by the manor, grab it, and then head on.
It's yeah, you'd be having to leave roughly same time period.
Yeah, we can fudge the time. That's easy.
Yeah, no matter how long it takes, like it could be the other group is given the
Mhm.
armor to meet up with you
Yeah,
because they all know that you're going to all meet up in
yeah.
this
Because we
location.
haven't decided the exact direction my village is in relation to the manor.
Right.
So,
And I know roughly of in relation. I know that the manor is north of you a bit,
yeah,
because your village is is in between the manor and uh, Mandan.
yeah, yeah,
Anyways, I'm gonna roll his.
yeah. So I took off the adventurer's coat, so I'm running with an AC of 14 right now.
So he s- immediately just as soon as you're finished with the whole like, yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm okay. I didn't
There,
actually fully die.
he takes a like a half step forward, pivots, and it doesn't connect properly because you do dodge some of it. But he sends a punch that was aimed right for the middle of your chest, and you're able to dodge it out to where
Mm.
he
Oh,
missed by
at least
one. So there's physical contact, but your dexterity is what's
yeah.
truly
So
saving you on
I
it.
Scott takes the hit and turns with it and twirls around and ducks under on the side, slides back behind him to the other open part of the It's still me. It's still me. I'm still alive. I just almost died. I didn't actually fully die.
The fact that you were in that position in the first place,
We were having a day. The owl bear snuck up on me.
that you know what? I'm not even gonna finish that question.
Okay, I should note at this time that I was also hurting a bunch of other people and trying to keep us on task. Or was I trying to do I think I was trying to keep up us on so, like, there were others there taking my attention, and I didn't fully know them, so sometimes I couldn't turn my back on them.
Uh,
Lesson learned. The entire trip back here, I didn't let one sneak up on me.
by the seven, I will teach you.
You know what? I'm cool with that because there are a few things that I do need to clean up. Uh, yeah,
Anyways,
because yeah, I did fuck up, but I'm still alive. Uh, and look on the bright side, we're getting cake out of the deal. Uh,
you best start getting down those stairs before I start sending you down them stairs.
and down the steps. Just like, okay, cloud in the shape of me. Just
The rest of the evening goes without any incident or issue.
Mm. Side note, are we still online? Did we go back online?
For
Oh, we did. I just didn't refresh my Twitch.
yeah, it's all right.
And as we go back downstairs.
Yeah. The evening goes without any further incident.
Mhm,
Nice dinner, meaningless conversation.
mhm.
Yeah,
What's old
mom.
Ethel been up to?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Uh, Skirp deliberately avoiding whatever work it is that he's doing.
Yeah. I deliberately avoid whatever work I was supposed to be doing.
The evening goes without any issue.
Mhm,
At the end of the night, you head upstairs. Skirp, as usual, heads outside. You make sure to relock your window,
yeah. This time
knowing for a
I
fact that this also doesn't stop him. If he wants
yeah.
in, he's getting in.
Yeah, he's got a much better he probably has expertise in thieves tools.
Yeah.
Um,
Like, he's the one that taught you how to pick a lock.
that yeah, most I bet, like, he had come back on a summer, I think, or, like, come back from a job, was home on vacation or something, and I was already starting to learn, getting gearing up, getting ready to go do my thing, and he's like, "This might be useful." I'm like, "Cool, I can use it to impress women." Never came up to impress women.
The one time you tried using it to impress a woman, she called a guard.
Yeah, I was gone down the street.
Like, hey, I can get into any room I want to.
Yeah.
Hey,
"Oh, you
I
locked
don't
out of
want.
your house? Here, let me help you out." "Oh, I'm sorry." Gone. "I didn't mean it like that." So I got good at hiding.
Which he also has
Oh,
been trying to teach you.
yeah. Like, I'm good at hiding. I think part of my thing is, like, uh, dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. Like, moving around things as well as just being aware of my surroundings more. Um I think that's his in sort of considering his position and place in combat.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, you get morning comes and there is a calmness that you haven't felt in quite a while.
mhm,
The room that you're in is genuinely comforting. The the knowledge that you're getting a home cooked meal.
mhm.
Like, the meals at the inns weren't bad,
Yeah,
but
they were good, they
there's
were
a
solid.
difference
Yeah, and
between
I think there's something to be said that Scott actually lets himself sleep in a little. Because normally he's up, like, he burns the candles at both ends, stays up late to sneak around, but then gets up early to meet the day. I think Scott doesn't get up till after sunrise. Like, he doesn't sleep way late, but, like,
Right.
he lets himself sleep in. It's a nice quilt that he's got. You know, the ones that aren't too thick, aren't too thin, just that
Yeah.
nice thickness of a quilt, soft sheets. Apparently, they've been kept clean and, you know,
And she
um
comes like you notice you know that your mom comes in and like just does minor cleanup of the room. Like
yeah,
though there's dust in the room, it's probably one of those it was gonna happen later in the month.
yeah, yeah,
Like
and yeah, Scott noticed that, it was just nice to be in a familiar in an old bed, felt like coming home because it is. There's a comfort and a safety, and I think for the first time in a while, Scott wakes up, especially after having told both his mother and his brother about everything that's been going on. Because maybe he and Skirp stayed up late and Scott just gives him more details. I don't know, or about some other parts of it. But I think Scott actually
not the
wakes
first night.
up, not the first night, yeah. But I think knowing that he told his mom and that he's home, I think for the first time in a long time, Scott wakes up and his first thought isn't check for trouble or what the fuck is going on. I think his first thought is truly genuinely positive. Like not just a neutral thought of, "Yay, I'm up." Like, "Yes, I'm up," but a, "Okay, I can figure this out. I can make sense of what the fuck is going on." So yeah.
When you get downstairs, there is a bit of chicken,
Mhm.
just a bit of like chicken breast that's been uh,
Yeah.
fried, grilled on
Yep.
the in the pan,
Mhm.
and then over the stove a little bit.
That
Then
reminds me, I need to get me one of those.
there is a bit of bread, bit of rice,
Yeah.
uh, veggies, some pickled
Mhm.
items.
Yep. Scott. It's like, "Morning, mom." Sits down. "Oh, very good." Digs in, wakes up, gets going. I think for the first time, he's not forcing his brain to wake up. He's just letting it wake up. So he's letting himself be, drowsy in the morning, like not firing on all cylinders right off the bat.
And your mom's noticing it.
Yeah. Not out of a bad way, but out of, I
Yeah,
feel okay doing that. Like it's nice to just
I
take it
can
easy with the
just
rest.
be.
Yeah. If not for the whole time he's here, at least for maybe a day or 2, because he
Yeah.
knows he's gonna have to get to work on stuff, but he's at least taking a minute.
After you're finished with your
Mm,
meal,
mm,
uh, like you're starting to get things put together, and just before you stand up, she comes over, grabs the stack of dishes, picks them up, and sets a letter down in front of you. It's just a piece of paper folded 3 times.
uh, okay, I pick it up. Is there any seal or marking on it?
Nope.
And, alright, I open it up and I read it.
Message inside reads, "Time is not favorable. Half past next moon for proper check.
I look at
Give."
mom.
Uh, there's more on the page.
Okay, yeah,
Uh,
sorry.
give half report to doorway. wait for my reply.
I glance up at mom because mom probably knows the work I do. I'm betting mom knows the work I do, is familiar
Yeah.
with it. Well, guess it'll be a little bit longer and I'll have to figure out something to do while I'm here. I'm gonna wakes up. I'm gonna get washed up and then I'm gonna put together a half report, take it on over there, and then figure out what to do.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, food is great, mom. It's great to be home.
You staying here long?
Uh, well, at least until the next half moon. Um, maybe I'll get some training in. I know Skirp's probably picked up on some new skills. I want to hone and sharpen some things. I wasn't exactly at my best the whole time out there. Maybe rethink some things. Work with him on that. But just get some training in. Get better at a few things, and not have to deal with so much fucking trauma on a daily basis, because that was a bit much.
Well, if you need to use a bow, I don't have any trips out for a little bit. You can borrow mine.
I appreciate that, Ma. I might take you up on that. Been a few days. Hope I haven't gotten that rusty. All right. Then he goes to the water closet, cleans himself up, then has his room, gets dressed, and he pauses for a second, seeing the adventurer's coat sitting there laying there on the bed. And he pauses just a quick second, like, I'm not going anywhere. But then he takes it and picks it up and he still puts it back on because he's just like, I'm telling about what's been going on. I just kind of want to be in the mode. There was just something about I don't think he even does it fully consciously. Like he's like, I can wear it. But I think deep down it's for Scott is like he's still familiar. Like this is still people he's gotten to know.
Hmm.
Whatever he may think about them, he still has a connection with them and is just like, oh, okay, all right, well, puts it on. He unlocks the window, pushes it open, hears the village and everything going on. His view is just kind of off to the side, doesn't lead out onto the main thoroughfare. It's a nice shaded spot. But he gets, an occasional glimpse and a cool breeze wafts through. Pulls out his notebook that he's been keeping everything in, pulls out some parchment, gets a full quill ink pen that he's probably had sitting here, runs back down. Ma, do we got some extra ink? Oh, can I borrow this? Thanks. That's back up because his old inkwell was completely bone dry. That's back down, dips, and for the next few hours, maybe 2, 3 hours, however long it takes, he writes a report as detailed as feels appropriate. Not that
Hmm.
he's trying to hide anything, but at the same time, like there's unnecessary details. We don't need to be talking about how Silver has a thing about washing her feet. We don't need to be talking about that in the report.
Right.
Um, we don't need to be discussing relationships or any crushes in the party, and just putting down details, mostly some interesting things that popped up. And definitely he slows down during the section when he's talking about I made a deal to come back and tries to communicate through the written word a level of humility and what's the word I'm looking for? The desire for sort of maybe sort of penance, the apologeticness of it. Like I made this deal. I don't know how like still trying to be professional, like it's still a report.
Hmm.
But trying to communicate through that subtlety of this was the deal I made. This was where I was at the time, and I was hoping to speak with you face to face to figure out where to go from here. I'm sorry, you know, in professional language. A lot of per my last email type shit.
Right.
um, And, and he finished it off with Port's Maiden. He does report on the ailing health of uh Lord Xandro. Um, provides the details. He does spill the beans about Susan because I think a part of it is he's still spilling all the tactical information, all the data points, because like I think a part of him just feels guilty that he made the deal with Baron Dumont, and feels like he has to make up for that in somehow. Though I don't think he realizes that's what he's doing. A few hours later, a nice solid stack of papers that is thick enough that it cannot be properly folded. So he gets a manila envelope, packs it away, gets up, straightens up. It's about lunchtime, I bet.
Yeah.
Heads on down. Uh Ma, I'm gonna head down to that deli nearby. Haven't been there in a while. I'm gonna get myself a bite to eat. Then I'm headed over to the doors and I'm gonna drop this off. Then I'll be back afterwards.
All right.
All right. Um, he stops at the doorway, sees the short swords and the bow. I'll be fine. Leaves them. Um, and steps out onto back onto the main thoroughfare. Um, Tiny little deli. It's really just a countertop with some stools bolted in. The kind that's just the bar with the hard
Yeah.
bolted stools. Goes up. Hey, here, requests a sandwich and uh leans back against it, looking out on the thoroughfare, just seeing the town, taking a breath in. There's this weird duality to his emotions right now. Like, on one hand, he just finished this report going through all those emotions again, but on the other hand, I'm home. Everyone's happy and safe. The sunlight is glittering through the trees at just the right angle. Oh, thank you. Finish it. Have a good day now. Heads on out, eats it, and follows the main thoroughfare till it narrows. And most people see it turn into a road into the wood. But then there's another path that's just primary enough, but most people ignore because they never spot it. But those who are looking for it see it. It's like a perception filter. And he just passes down that path, finished eating, folds up the wrapping paper, puts it in a pocket because he's not gonna, just throw it on the ground. Um, and then he finishes it, and a bit of trepidation comes on. He knows he's not gonna see the Duchy of Twilight, but at the same time, he hasn't been down this road in a while, a few months at least, a few moons at least. Um, the glade, within just probably the space of 20, 30 feet, the sound from the village completely vanishes. All you hear are the sounds of birds, crickets, beetles, nature, the wind in the trees. The light takes on a different sheen, just this kind of shimmer to it, very subtle. It's almost like the saturation was turned up just a little, but at the same time, the light dims. And he turns and comes into this glade, another smaller, much, much smaller, clearing in the trees. A small little rise that looks like it's overgrown steps. Like, you can almost see the stone steps under it, but like grass and dirt and everything have grown over it. That leads up to, you can see in the ground the little brickwork that where a wall should have been, but it's only that first layer of bricks left. And right in the middle, some of the bricks turn as if that's where a door used to be. And the trees have come really close. He looks up and no, they haven't. The sky has taken a purple hue, almost as if it is twilight. But it's still daytime, like if you step far enough off. It's just sort of a shimmer and a little sparkle in the air. almost as some of the stars have come down to float in the glade. And he starts walking up the hill slash steps to the doors to present and looks around to look for and see.
A fairly old uh human. You haven't seen this particular man here before, but by the looks of him, you knew his father, who
Mhm.
was a much, much older man.
Oh, so he's the next generation, but he's
He's still
just as
not,
old.
yeah, he's as old as your mom would tell you that he was, that the last one was when started.
Yeah. Ah, you're a new face.
As you,
Yes. May I know what you are called?
Mark.
Mark. It is nice to know what you are called, Mark. You may call me Skad. I have a report to have been passed on to the Duchy of Twilight, and then I will remain and wait for their response. I offer up the manila envelope, quote unquote.
He reaches out his hand, grabs it, and as he's pulling his hand back with the envelope, you notice that he's just staring at you the whole time. Like he hasn't looked at the envelope at all.
Yeah, like staring into my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Scott keeps the stare, like he meets it.
Yeah. As you meet it, you also notice he hasn't blinked yet.
Yeah, pretty par for the course. He's not gonna question it. Like Scott's meeting this year, not out of a point of challenge, but just of
Yeah.
I'm not gonna back down, but at the same time, like I get this is one of those transactional things.
Once he has it like fully in his possession, like up to his body, he just nods. You'll be let known.
I appreciate your time and attention. And then Scott backs away and keeps his eye on him the whole time till he's down the hill and then turns and walks back into the village.
Real quick, roll me a d6.
All right.
This is a quote unquote encounter chart.
One.
As soon as Mark is out of your line of sight and you go to turn around,
Mhm.
you bump into someone.
Oh, pardon me. I apologize. And I look and do I end up looking up or down at said individual?
Up at said individual.
Oh, up. And who do I see?
It's a young-ish looking elf.
Mm,
Uh, you haven't seen him around the parts before, but that's not anything really big. You've been gone for a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, wearing fairly nice clothes, but obviously travel worn.
Mhm,
Uh, you're a little bit farther away from where it is, from where that Glen is, so like the light is coming back a little bit, and you see that he's wearing a pair of sunglasses, and his long black hair is covering his ears for the most part, but you can definitely tell that he's an elf by
mhm.
his facial structure first and foremost.
Yeah. Um, him wearing the glasses, do I get the sense that he is from the lineages of the Astral Sea?
No,
No, he's not. Just wearing glasses, not I why
sunglasses.
did
No,
I
he's wearing sunglasses.
sunglasses. Okay.
Like they're dark lensed glasses.
Okay. Okay then. Oh, apologies, sir. I did not see you there. Yeah, my brother was right. I need to work on that. Um, what, may I know what you were called? I do apologize.
Dionysus.
Dionysus, it is an honor to meet you. You may call me Skad Utant. Uh,
Should I use your full title or just your name?
I'm sorry, I don't believe I know what you mean.
I mean, you do. You just don't want to
Yeah,
say it.
I do. I'm like, this is one of the moments
No, no,
where
no.
if a
He
heart
says
rate,
that. He
yeah,
says, like in character, he says, "Oh, you know what I'm talking." He says, "Oh, you do. You just don't want to say it."
okay. If so the first time he said, "Do you want me to use your full title?" If there was an EKG attached to Scott's heart, it would have skipped about 20 beats. And then the second time he says it, he's flatlined. He's just like, um, just to make sure that we are on the same page. Scott looks around, make sure no one's nearby. What title are you referring to?
The fact that you are Skad Utan, the Purple Rose.
Right. And may I ask how you came across that information? Scott is regretting not taking one of those weapons this morning.
You're the one who rolled a one.
Yeah, I know. This is great.
The reason I know that information is because I gather information. Part of what I do. There's a lot of other
Oh,
things I do, a lot of other things that I've done. But first and foremost, I think that you might want to hear me out.
I would like to insight check this individual.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. Ugh. Okay, that's not bad. 17.
17. He genuinely seems to be, from his own perspective, offering you
Mhm.
a hand up and talking with you.
Okay. A metaphorical hand up because I don't think I fell on the
Right.
ground, did I?
No, yeah, a
um,
metaphorical hand up.
and him being a gatherer of information, Scott is familiar with that industry, considering that's literally what he was doing. Um, Scott takes a moment. Okay, fuck it. The rest of them aren't here to get mad at me for going off on my own. Just thinking of the rest of the party. Um, why don't we go find a place to sit and talk this over?
How's this? Why don't you? And he steps from in front of you to the side, and behind him is a wooden door. Uh, give me a history check
Oh,
at disadvantage. You are a
yeah,
bit flustered in the moment.
yeah, no kidding.
As he steps inside, he gestures to the door. Why don't we just step into my office?
Okay.
Dice falling everywhere.
I'm letting the one that hit the ground stay. It was a natural 2. And with my history, yeah, that's a 3.
Yeah, it just looks like a wooden door.
Yeah. Which Scott's dealt with weird doors several times. But at this point, he's just like, I'm dealing with another hyper powerful being. Starts patting around, feels the notebook, like, okay, I've got it. He's not going to pull it out, but he's like, okay, I can record this conversation later. And he's like, after you.
He opens the door into, as you can see
Mhm.
with your eyes, a fairly dark room,
Even with my dark vision.
even with your dark vision.
Yeah, it's magical darkness. I was considering of taking Eldritch Apt to get that magical dark vision. Um, so that's just but he but I've seen that kind of this is a
Yes.
door. I am familiar with the
It's a door. You see a little bit into the room
mhm,
before that like wall of darkness,
yeah.
and there's like wooden floor.
But this is one of those doors like what we saw at the
No,
bottom. No,
no.
God wouldn't know about demiplanes, so he realizes this different mechanics. Skad steps through the door.
All right. You walk through what feels like a curtain of like a physical curtain of shadow.
It's Clayton's for you. Clayton's. Sorry.
As you get to the other side of this curtain, you suddenly recognize this room, but it definitely feels different, especially without any of the artwork in it.
It's the room in the tavern back at the manor, or at least another version of it.
Another version of it.
As soon as I see it, I turn and watch this figure step through. I wanna He's still wearing his sunglasses, isn't he?
No, as he's stepping in, he's taking them off.
What do his eyes look like?
Solid black. Not a like starry thing like you've
Yeah.
seen from Izzy.
Mhm,
They're solid black, and he's pulling his hair back a little bit, like into
mhm.
a like very messy makeshift ponytail.
Yeah,
The tips are bifurcated. He has two points to
mhm.
his ear. He is not
Do
an
I
elf.
Yeah, do I notice any scales as
No.
part of his human visage? No scales. So I just knowing that that door is looks like it was the only way in or out, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Even thinking back to the way this room was, so
Yeah.
that the last time you saw it, this is just a small side room,
Mhm.
and you are able to see past him into the forest area.
Yeah.
And the door is still slightly open. You still
Yeah.
hear the sound.
But at the same time, like he's between me and the door, and I'm realizing I'm dealing with some big shit again.
He quickly does get out of your way and takes a seat at the table.
Oh. Oh, well I was just like I'll as he sits down, he's on the table. Do you happen to know a tavern owner by the name of Susan?
She's not an owner, as she will probably remind you she is a manager.
Manager, apologize. I it's been a few days.
Probably.
So is her room in that tavern not actually part of the tavern?
It is.
It is. It's okay. Just curious. May I ask who you are and what is your offer here?
Well, as I see it, and as my informants have told me, you are currently in a bit of a rock and hard place.
I mean, that's putting it lightly, but yeah.
I mean, you're beholden to the Duchy of Twilight,
hmm
which is a deal that you made of your own personal accord.
Yeah. Um, they helped me when I was a kid, and I worked for them to kind of return that favor.
You are beholden to a the Baron of the Purple Rose,
Yeah, that one was a little more intense. like the circus and camping.
So I'd like to offer you a third option.
Ooh boy.
It's less problematic than you think.
I'd hope so. I'm not turning it down right out of the gate. I'm still gonna be open to it because I'm still figuring things out.
Here's my offer.
Hmm.
Plain, simple, straight to the point. I would like to, lack of a better term, buy you out of both contracts.
Okay. Um, Fortunately, neither contract was necessarily was a permanent servitude type thing, but there were
Well,
just
you sign a contract with the Purple Rose. It's not permanent until it's
yeah.
permanent.
Yeah. Well, I haven't cracked open the letter and signed that yet.
Oh, you have a letter.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So your informants didn't know about that?
I know that he usually hands them out. I just didn't know
Mm.
you already had one.
Yeah, I think it popped up there when I when it happened. I just didn't notice for a few days. Shit was happening. Um, Another one of my associates.
I know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, her contract is a little bit more sealed after recent events. I
Yeah.
can't offer a way out of that.
Oh, that's understandable. We've already had a discussion. That said, I don't want to jump into this blind. So you're offering to buy out my contracts to whom?
Like, who would your contract be with afterwards?
But basically, I'm asking, who the heck are you? Who would I become beholden to?
Right. You. History doesn't really have us written down all proper and neat and whatnot. I am one of the court members of the barons,
That
baronesses,
was
and belladrox
mm,
of the Onyx Nightshade. There was
Onyx
more than one
Knight.
of us, but only a few of us actually have the
Mm,
disappointment of being able to actually make it out the other side.
Other side of what?
War.
Ah, I do suppose it never changes.
I mean, usually it does change,
Mm.
and it has changed once again.
I I've noticed it is not a pattern yet, but I have noticed that the that Baron Dumont and the Baroness my friend made a deal with have sort of different themes, for lack of a better term.
Hmm.
What is yours?
Same thing that we held all the way back then. We have a handful of rules that we would like you to keep going into the future. And as such, I will even bring you into the crows.
Into the cross. I apologize. I didn't make myself clear. That's on me. I meant magical sources. Like Baron Dumont's got a lot of dead folk around him. My friend's Baroness uh has a lot of light and celestial type power. What's your, if I may, what is your source of oomph, as it were?
On a personal note of what I will be offering you directly or what we stood for back then.
Yes.
We'll go in the reverse order because this is my tavern and I'm going to make the rules.
Oh, of course.
We stood for the people. Diversity, inclusion, togetherness, community. Your dick will chop yours off. Simple. Things went sideways and I made a promise to myself that I broke. And after I broke my promise to myself, I decided that I would make a new one, which is to not let others get swept up into things if I can help it.
You you would do the dirty work so they wouldn't have to?
I mean, we were parents. Who else would do the work? People looked up to us.
I would like to insight check his position on what they were w when he's declaring what they stand for. I would like to insight that, just what kind of read I'm getting off of that.
What, before you roll,
Mhm.
what do you believe that you are reading off of that, character
I'm
wise?
so I know Scott's hearing the "We believed in the common people, diversity, equity," diversity, equity, inclusion, common people. I've made a mistake. I'm trying to not let it happen again. Scott's hearing corporate talk in there. So he's like, what's going on here? Because he's he's already, he's dealing with a baron of necromancy already. He's trying to figure out, because he's also trying to figure out the source of power. That's kind of the flavor, the theming. Because
Roll me
I
a
know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm
Roll
trying to
me a
see.
perception check before you roll me an insight.
Will do. Excellent. Oh, that's only a 12.
Even with that 12, you are noticing that, like, when he moves his hand around, stuff like that,
Mm,
the shadows on his hand take a second to catch up to any of his movements.
mhm. And then I would like to insight him. And oh, that's a little better. That's a 14.
Is Skad wanting to trust him, or is Skad trying to find a hole to poke?
Neither. Scott is looking for truth because if this is a way out, great. But he also doesn't want to have the wool pulled over his eyes because he's made far too many impulsive decisions these past few, this past entire past moon. And he literally now has time to slow it down, to consider his choices and examine the situation. He doesn't want to leap without looking.
Currently, you're seeing that his offer is
Mhm.
the face value is the depth.
Yeah.
Like, he's showing you the bottom of the pool with
Okay.
crystal clear water.
Okay. So at least that doesn't trigger my thalassophobia. That's good to know. um. Okay. Uh,
As far as what I will offer you, I am a Ladrin, if it wasn't obvious already. but I am a bit more. There's only a
Oh, you
couple of
don't
us that
say.
are.
Sorry, that was too sassy of me, sir. I do apologize. It
Oh, trust me, when you live, when you travel with someone who, when they get annoyed at you, give you a piercing migraine,
Ooh,
you accept the sass.
oh, goodness gracious. I apologize. Continue. I apologize for the
It's fine.
distraction there.
It's fine. You seem like the sort that really likes to huddle into darkness. And I'm wanting to give you a leg up on that.
It's it's not the darkness I look for. It's the shadows, because they're a useful tool, even if
They
it
are.
scares me. But at the same time, when you say darkness, how dark?
He stands up for a second, holds out his hands, and he takes a breath in. And as he does, the shadows of his body seem to just soak up in around him. And you see a layer of armor underneath his clothes. I mean, a simple absence of light. Because an absence of light is used to be able to help those that need the light. Because without shadow, there's no depth. Without an absence of light in some areas, there is no understanding of time passing, shapes on an object, a face. And shadows are a useful tool. I
They
offer
are.
you the shadows.
And
And I will also do something that neither of them did.
no, what's that?
A minute.
A minute?
How about a week?
Time?
Yeah,
Or what?
you to think on it.
Oh,
I'm offering a lot, and I know that. I am just. Everyone else is always hurry, hurry, hurry. Make this decision, save your life, do this thing, follow this path, drink this Kool-Aid. Sorry, different reference. Always these little things in such a short period of time. I'll give you a week.
okay.
Not here, not now. Unless you want to, it's up to you. But if you want to have a week, I'll give it to you.
I will need to take some time to think on this. Um,
If you answer it before then,
of
you can easily get a hold of me.
course. I have one more question before I take the time.
Ask away.
Would I be able to come back from that darkness?
What is darkness without light? The edge of every bit of dark, there's a light to make it. Just make sure you have a light.
Can you give me a moon?
2 weeks.
I'll take it. I do appreciate the offer, and I will consider it and let you know as soon as I know something or by the deadline.
And if I don't hear from you by the deadline, I'll know your answer.
I appreciate that. Um, Thank you for taking the time, and I will be on my way. He, you know, bows stiffly and uh, walks out.
As soon as the door closes, it just fades into a shadow of a tree near
Mhm.
you.
And he, as soon as he steps outside the door, he turned and watched it just melt into shadows. And then he takes a step and another step and another and another, and his pace picks up. And before he knows it, he is tearing through the middle thoroughfare out the other side of the village, just back into the woods. He leaps up onto a tree, clambers up, climbs, and finds his way to a tiny little corner way, just hyperventilating after that meeting. And because as soon as he heard about this darkness, he was already checking out, and now it was getting out with his life. Because as because yeah, both of his current deal well, one of his current deals is very questionable. The other is, look, if they'll keep him, he'll take it. And he still felt, even with his read, something off about the offer, because darkness doesn't create shadows. Scott had an old buddy back in Mandan. He was he was a theater type. He always said every light creates a corresponding shadow. Darkness is the absence of light. Shadow is caused by light, but being limited. And he knows he's going to need every single day of those 2 weeks to figure it out. Because, yeah, getting out of it. And the guy seemed amiable, didn't seem bad, but at the same time, he just got the heebie jeebies. Like, and not in a way of the creepy form that Baron Dumont has, but in a way of, yeah, something's off here, dude. Something's weird. He The offer on its face seems, oh, this will work great, especially with the things I want to do. But at the same time, it's like, wait, hang on. What promise did he break? You know, at this
Things that you
moment,
could have asked.
yeah, yeah. Um,
I know, hindsight's
but
50-50.
yeah, yeah. Well, I don't think it's just that. I think it's also Scott knew he couldn't just start barrel into questions because this is still a baron. And Scott doesn't want to, or claims to be a baron. Um Oh, don't give me that look. I'm going off the information I have. You made the world. I'm just living in it. Um, that said, Scott would like to try and do because he did spend time, he was told some of the stories and histories by Mithluna and some of the others in the party of the history of just the barons in each of the courts. He wants to see if he can dig any of that up out of his memory.
Give me a history check at advantage, essentially with guidance.
Okay, I'll take the guidance. Okay. 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 18.
18. There are two things that pop out in your head. One right after the
Mhm.
other. One, there's only one court of barons, which was
Yeah.
the Onyx Nightshade. It
Mhm.
was, as history remembers it, a group of people that ended up getting into a deal that they didn't really expect to be into, uh, and got in charge of a huge chunk of land.
Mhm.
And this unclaimed territory between baronies created a barony of its own.
Okay.
And then another setting of unclaimed territories. Like the one barony is the only one that was in a couple different places. Like it was the only
S
barony that wasn't a solid
Okay.
location.
So they
And
basically took up they were the disparate exclaves of other.
that's what they built themselves on is
Okay.
we are the ones that didn't fit in.
Okay. Um,
They didn't start off as titans.
yeah.
History
But
remembers
so they weren't one of the 10. They weren't one of the original 10, were
9.
they?
There were 9 original.
And Scott
There were
remembers that
9.
part of the story.
Now there were 9 original ones, and there was a 10th flower that sprung up like a weed, a poisonous weed, onyx nightshade. And then you also remember another fact just floods into your mind suddenly where you've seen that flower outside of the manor. Not many left, but there is onyx nightshade outside of the manor of Duskin.
Do I remember where outside the manor? Was it close to the tavern? Was it close to
It was close to the tavern. I mean, there's some like little patches of it near all 4 of the major entrances, but the largest patch was outside of the tavern. And the most nicely kept patch is outside of the tavern, the main entrance.
I would like to do an investigation check to see if I can puzzle together this
Absolutely. I'll give
this
you advantage.
excellent. Because that realization now that I'm like, because I'm walking back in the space like, oh, I've seen this flower. Like, wait, why is the biggest patch close to? Oh, excellent. So that's a 16.
16. All of it's starting to piece together of like this is like the bits and pieces are starting to form together. The crows,
Mhm.
not crows. I misspoke. It should have been mentioned of the ravens.
The ravens. Okay. Yeah,
And
that's fine.
there is a what looks to be a stuffed raven that sits over the mantle of the bar.
She's a raven, isn't she? Motherfucker. Either she is or one of the other tavern workers. It
You
Because I think
also
Scott would, because yeah, I think Scott would remember there are the doppelgangers, right? The changelings?
the changelings, they all are the one bartender.
Yeah.
No, there's another thing from a different job position that you remember.
Okay.
There are, you know, of the Rat King, the person who
Okay.
runs the dock rats and all of them.
Yeah.
But you also keep hearing from up north in Vesper that there is no dock king. There's no Rat King up there.
Mhm.
And you've heard this title once or twice, not very often, but of a raven among the rats, among ravens among the rats. And then you remember hearing that the head title was always held by a woman, the matriarch in charge of this organization that you stumbled across on. And when you stumbled across on it, you were immediately moved out of that section of the dock for an entire season when you saw RQ written down on the bottom of a page. Note, she is not a goddess in my setting. She is a
Yeah.
title, Raven Queen.
The contrary to the Rat King, because the Rat King, I think,
The Rat
did he?
King is smuggling. The Raven Queen,
Yeah.
as you can guess, the best of your knowledge, is a spy network.
Yeah. Like Scott, like he's gasping. He's like, if this was a TV show, he'd be flashing and be all these little elements, memories, little flashbacks of things happening. Um,
Roll me one more n- nature or survival
okay.
at advantage.
All right. Excellent. Definitely survival. Natural 20.
For a total of
23.
Eclipse is a
Mwah.
raven, right?
Hmm?
Eclipse is a raven, right?
I think Eclipse was an eagle.
Last you saw him before the trip. You realize that last night when you looked up at him, you recognize him like wholeheartedly, but his
Yeah.
feathers are black last you saw him.
Where the fuck is my paw? He just says that out. Like he's up on some branch somewhere, like several hundred feet away from the village, out of earshot. He's just standing there putting all this together with that natural 20, with putting that together. Would I put together with that? Does my mom know, or is she involved? And is my brother involved?
That natural 20 was for the wait a minute. More often than not, he's an eagle, but like yeah, I distinctly remember him being a raven, and there's a couple raven feathers like in the house, just like randomly.
Yeah. My next move is, does my mom know, and was that on purpose? Because if she does, that's one thing. If she doesn't, I need to talk to her about it.
So what does Scott do?
He's just coming down to the breath, all these things coming together. Like you see the floating equations in the air, like links are made. The mental murder board has been linking and connecting, and Scott's realizing he just received an offer from a group that has been causing him trouble inadvertently for so long. He didn't even realize it. And his mom may be involved, and he claims to be about the freedom for people. And for whatever the issues the Barons have, growing up like a weed isn't really a good reputation. There's something about calling and worshiping this darkness, whatever it is, that seems almost like it seemed hungry. God leaps from the branch, slides down the tree, slowing his fall, lands on the ground, and then starts jogging back into town to find his brother. And he knows two things. One, he is not going to take that deal. Whatever may come, he will find another way because this one has too much of a cost. Because he is not going to turn his back on the one new person in his life who's brought him some light. Because he knows she wouldn't be for it. And two, if he's gonna get into this shit, this new spy shit, which by the way, the undercurrent of that, there is a bit of a thrill because fuck yeah, spy shit. He also knows, oh fuck, spy shit. And his first thing to do when he gets back to town, he looks for his brother. Because if he's gonna do this, he needs every last ounce of training, awareness, perception, and understanding around him. Fuck his spells and magic work. They'll come in handy as tools, but he needs skills now. This would have been an amazing point if we didn't have to finish this because that's a dramatic point right there.
It is very dramatic. You do find your brother.
Mhm.
He's over in a training area. It's one that he goes to quite often.
Before I get to him, I want to do an insight or investigation on him. Does he have any Raven iconography on him? Because I'm also,
Give him the roll.
all right. I'll do insight. Baller. That's a 24.
You don't see any.
Okay. Take a breath. Scarp.
Oh, hey, little brother.
No, you were talking last night when you nearly killed me, how you need to get me straightened up.
Yeah.
Well, turns out I've got some time on my hand, and I just made a few realizations that you are most definitely right. Think you can help me out with it?
I can try.
Yeah. Because I think I need your help figuring out something else of how I'm using some of my weapons and tools. But I do want your help in, moving through open spaces and also being able to notice things around me.
All right.
So let's go. And then training montage.
Yeah, training montage.
Yep,
We will, with your permission as player,
of
gloss
course.
over that for the most part. I
Oh,
believe that
yes.
you currently have a feeling of where you're leaning.
Um, in terms of feats, I know I'm gonna take one to either get me in because I'm bumping up that wisdom, and then because I'm either taking observant or skill expert. One now, one at 8th level. And then I think the biggest conversation I wanted to have with Skirp is see, I've been using a bow for a while and it's been great, but I've been kind of wanting to get up close, but at the same time, don't want to always stay too close. But I want to be able to move around the field to help my new friends. Cause I got some that are great at being up close, but I've got some others that need to hang back, and I don't want them, run up to. I want to be able to kind of hold off some buddies there, or to
Well,
be best just hang back next to them and
let me offer you this.
yeah.
I've mostly been working with rapier lately,
Uh huh.
which means the daggers that I used for the longest time, I don't need them anymore. So I'll let you hold on to them for now. And
Yeah.
he passes them to you, and
And these are nice. Yeah.
yeah, they
Like,
are very high quality looking
yeah.
knives.
Like, I have proficiency in all martial and simple weapons, so I
Yeah,
know how to use all the weapons. I'm just not specialized in any of them as of yet. But yeah, maybe use them and then, huh? Maybe
as he hands you the weapons, I'm guessing you just like move them around, feel how they
move
feel
around,
in your hand.
and I find myself moving in ways that I've seen before, and I just get a flash of melee, and then it just like it. I almost stumble and I catch myself, like, huh? Maybe some of the dancing. Well, maybe she'd like a dance partner someday. Might want to work with these. Can't get as far range with them, but at the same time, I'm usually we're usually getting ourselves stuck up close, and maybe I can always have a bow as a backup.
It always works. Or you can always take a couple extra knives.
Yeah.
Personally, back when I first started with my job,
Mhm.
couldn't have too many knives.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine, she's the one who left this coat for me. She, uh she was real good with she just had this whole set of knives she was chucking down. It was real cool. Um, just kinda wondering, um, because the bow was useful, but there was something I liked it, but I always kept wanting to get closer to things, wanting to be able to get them up close. Uh, not sure. God keeps holding them and they keep moving. Like they're starting to feel comfortable. And there's something about Scott's small stature, him sneaking around, him being able to bring himself in close when he needs to hide, almost feels more comfortable. The bow was nice and it was great. I don't know. I always felt like I feel like want to get closer to things. Get up in the fight. I don't want to leave them in danger. At the same time, getting up close is what got me killed.
Yeah, I can see that.
Let me play with these for today. Can you meet me tonight? Because there's some stuff that I can do that I'd like to show you, because maybe that can help with what you might be able to teach me. Also, I have a question. Um, you know mom's pet bird, right?
Yeah,
An eagle, right?
I could have sworn it was a falcon.
Yeah, you found some sort of a bird of prey, right?
Well, like when you say that, you describe one particular kind of bird, and he describes a completely different kind of bird. Like you're thinking of bigger, bigger bird of prey. He's thinking
Mhm.
like falcon.
Mid-sized bird of prey, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then
Weird.
again, Eclipse does kind of
Love
eclipse
fucking
himself.
with us? Yeah. Alright, well, I'm gonna play with these. Can you meet me after dark? There's some stuff that I've learned how to do I'd like to show you, and then maybe you can tell me how to be better at it
I
after
can't
that.
tonight, but I can
Okay.
tomorrow.
I want to insight check him.
Absolutely.
2. That's a natural 2, so that's a
He's
7.
just
I'm
got something to go on.
yeah. No, that's fine. Alright, yeah, yeah. I think after the revelation with Eclipse, Scott just he's on pins and needles. Um, I'm gonna go play with these. I'm gonna run home, check on some of my gear. Um, I'll catch tomorrow night. Yeah, sounds good. I'm
Tomorrow night.
gonna I'm gonna do some practicing, and I'm gonna go home. And before I walk in the door, is mom home or did she leave for the day?
She has left for the day.
Left for the day. Okay. Then I go, no, seeing that they're not there. I'm gonna go up to my room. I want to search my room for any sign of anything being unnecessarily tampered with or searched through.
Roll.
Uh,
Uh,
so
roll with advantage,
okay.
and this
Yeah.
isn't a super high DC.
Yeah, because like the idea is he would know where he put things because he's been
Yeah.
doing this stuff for a while. He's learned some spycraft and stuff, so he'd probably have some checks in place. He just kind of wants to check them all. Okay, that's an 11.
Nothing seems out of place.
Yeah, everything's fine. Um, yeah, he's just gonna. I think he's just gonna spend the rest the next couple of days. Uh, yeah, he's just gonna spend the next couple of days. He's gonna trust his brother. Um, next couple of days. That said, this evening when Mom and Eclipse get back home, he's gonna pop a real quick detect magic on Eclipse, or quick detect magic, and just kind of glance, see if anything other than conjuration is around the summon.
Okay, first, the last bit of your sentence cut off for a weird
Sorry.
reason.
Um, when
So
Eclipse
I'm like,
gets back, I want to throw
yeah,
a. So I, as a player, would know there'd be conjuration magic because I know it's a familiar. Think we've. I don't think Skad. Maybe Skad would have figured out, or at the very least, he's about to. Or if
you're
there's other illusion magic on there.
yes and yes.
Oh shit. Okay. He drops the detect magic. Now he knows that, files that away, and acts like nothing happened for the next couple of days.
You also notice with your detect magic up that
Mhm.
your mom's bow is magical.
Oh, what kind of magic?
Conjuration and evocation.
Okay. So evocation is probably just some raw damage dealing. Conjuration, though, that's an interesting one. He files that away and drops it. Uh, so burn a spell slot, even though I'm probably gonna get it back on
Yeah,
the
you get
way
it
back
back
home.
like next morning.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I think Scott just goes through the next day, doing training, and then the next evening he meets his brother and they go out into the woods. And Scott basically shows him how he can vanish in the darkness. Like if there's no light, he's gonna check this out. Boom.
Well, that is a very handy trick.
Yeah. The problem is, steps back. I can make use of it, so it'll be great. It'll be help in getting close, or I can stay back and just pop off things. But at the same time, I think I need help either moving through spaces or just being helping me be either good with this or make me better with the bow. What do you think? And what do you think I should do? Because I've used those
Nope.
short swords, I've gotten used to them, and I've always ended
Yeah.
up in close combat in several situations.
and you've gotten good with those daggers, I'll say, let me ask, let me answer your question with a
Mhm.
question.
I love that.
Which do you think feels better to you? Being the one that is watching everyone all the time from far away, or and he starts stepping away from you, being the one that is in one position and he goes behind a tree and you hear footsteps for just a second, and then next thing you notice, there's a blade like flat side, his rapier flat side
Mhm.
across like in front of your neck,
Yeah.
or do you want to be right up on someone? This is the first time that you've also been this close to his blade.
Mhm.
It is a dark metal, and
Okay.
you're pretty sure that it's because he is a rogue.
Yeah.
Like
He
this
doesn't
is
want it
a
glinting and shining and reflecting things.
right. But like this is the first time that you've actually noticed it because you also deal with him in the daylight. In the daylight, it does catch glint and light.
Yeah. That's a fancy ass little sword you got there.
Oh, sword isn't the thing that's fancy.
Oh?
He sheathes it. A couple things I picked up on a couple jobs back. So you gotta ask yourself a simple question, little brother. What do you want to do? Where do you want your eyes to be in a fight?
The first thought Skad has is a certain wild magic sorcerer. It's like, wait, nope. I want to keep my friends safe.
Well, do you think that would be better if you can watch from farther away or closer? Be honest with yourself. Because if you're closer, you can keep them at hand, not only know where they are by sight, but by touch. But if you're farther away, you'll see them, and they'll see you, kinda. And
But it might take me longer to get to them if one of my friends are in trouble. I want to
I
be
know,
able to move quickly.
I know you. I know that you're always going to be able to get someplace quick enough if you try hard enough. Hell, you got home a lot faster than I thought you might.
But you didn't know where I went.
You went to Mandan for a long time. Stuff went sideways.
Yeah.
Mom
And
told me
we,
you cleaned up a lot of stuff. Didn't go into detail, but she said you cleaned up a lot of stuff. And then you got home. And I only guess that whatever it was that you were cleaning up took you about a moon or so. I mean, we're coming up on the end of a season.
um, I want to be close to all of them, right in the thick of it. But at the same time, I want to be able to stand back if I need to. There's just something about always wanting to hang all the way back. It feels like I'm too far away from things. I want to be closer. And
Then,
I think I would like to mention that I think during this trip back here and considering this, and especially now that it's dark and nighttime, I think for the first time, Scott may be noticing part of the reason he wants to get closer is that hunger. I don't think he's fully conscious of where it's coming from, but something's drawing him closer. I want to be able to get to the people I love so I can keep them safe. And then I look my brother dead in the eyes and say, and I want to kill anybody who threatens them.
And you keep those daggers. As a note, I did a roll for you.
Okay.
I- and you notice that this conversation is being watched.
I look at my brother and I just sort of try and silently make a facial expression of, do you did you know that we were being watched?
And he nods,
Did you plan on us being watched?
shakes his head,
You want to fuck some shit up?
shakes his head.
Do I notice what is watching us?
Looks to be a shadow. Like it's a shadowed silhouette of a man.
Of a certain type of shadow?
Not a swashbuckling rogue. Sorry, that's a reference to the gamer.
Yeah, that's okay.
Shadow.
What I mean is, like, is the nature of the shadow very similar to the types of shadows that my potential benefactor kind of wielded?
With the roll I got for you, you would notice yes.
Okay. Then I ask my brother, point blank, do you know?
You got to be more specific. There's a lot of things I know that you don't. There's a lot of things you know that I don't.
Mm. I hold out my hand. I want to kind of casually shift myself so my back is to wherever that shadow is. I guess maybe I was moving around and then with my hand just sort of held here, blocked from the view of the shadow, I druid craft an onyx nightshade. Basically, I'm basically asking my brother, do you know about the deal of this? And are you gonna have to kill me for it?
He looks at the flower and sighs. There's a lot of things that you don't know. If I tell you something in a moment, after I know that it's just us, I need you to promise me something here and now. And you have to promise me on pain of I will do whatever is necessary to keep it a secret
Mm.
that you're not supposed to know.
My lips are sealed. You have my word.
I will hold you to that, little brother.
I would expect nothing less, big brother.
I kind of shift my job a while back. So did Mom. Dad got in on the job too. Mom actually has a fancy new couple things that she's learned from it. I got a couple fancy things that I've learned from it. Before you say anything, understand this. Everyone, everyone's trying to play an angle. There are a handful of people that I would actually trust on their angle because what I've seen from them, what I have witnessed, and what I have done, it has been to the benefit of so many more than you will ever see. You have a question about that particular flower, and I have two answers for you. And I will let you punch me for one if you are so inclined. Whenever you are ready to hear it, I am willing.
I let the flower wilt and hold a fist. 2, actually, just 2. No, 3. How many in the village?
Three.
You, mom. Okay. I won't ask who the third is just yet because I have 3 questions. 2, why?
There's been a gap. Not enough people are getting helped. Not enough people have been getting what they need, knowing what's where, and how to get people what they need. Watch and observe. That's all we've ever been told to do. And then we're told, then we're offered an idea. Help.
Okay. Addendum to that question. And you believe the end result is genuine?
I've seen it for myself.
One last question. And I look him dead in the eye. Where's Dad?
By now, should be on his way back from Vesper.
I was given the offer. I was given 2 weeks to think on it, and I'm still thinking on it.
I don't know anyone else in town that would be able to offer you anything.
I've
Mom's
gotten
the
into
highest rank that we got in town.
Okay. Forget I said anything.
Puts a hand on your shoulder, like tentatively. Like
Mm.
if he feels you pull away at all, he pulls his hand back.
I think I twitch, but I don't pull away. Like,
When you twitch,
because
he
I've unclenched my fists at this point.
yeah.
I let him approach.
Like when you twitch, he pulls his hand back and then slowly puts his hand onto your shoulder. You know something. If you've been offered anything, I know that you've kind of been trying to thwart a lot of what we've been doing. But we do more good than you think. We line pockets in not all of the best areas, but those not best areas are 2% against the 98 that helps go places. I can give you 2 examples of where that's helped.
Okay.
You notice the deli was nice up and going?
Yeah. Always
Better
has
stock than
been.
usual?
I didn't take a peek in the back. Still good sandwiches.
Like, sandwiches are fresh, more meat available. We struggled for a long time. The little market stalls are able to carry things like milk, cheese, yogurt, things that we can't get in the village.
Right. So if your mouth speed, that is good. I'm not gonna deny that. How have I been going against y'all?
He reaches into his pouch on his side, pulls a uh, bandana out, and you see the black bandana on one side, and then he flips it around, and you see the dock worker bandanas
Mhm.
for Mandan. And you recognize the exact pattern.
The Foxhead logo?
No,
No?
your brother's a rat.
Because I'm
You were part of the
yeah,
you were part of the people that were trying to stop the dock rats.
I think I was just a pencil pusher. I don't know if
Like a lot of your reports that you had done.
because I was trying to make sure everything was accurate because that's just the kind of dickwad I am. And it just by accident it was causing him headaches.
And
Really? Really? This is what you got a problem with? I'm just trying to keep accurate records and you're getting pissed about it? Cook your books better.
we try, but someone kept getting in the way of those trying to do that work.
Well, sorry for being good at my job.
Don't be sorry for being good at your job. Just
I wasn't. I was being sarcastic.
be better at another job. You get information, and I noticed that.
Yeah. That's why I took the doc job.
Yeah,
Everyone talks when they don't notice you.
you are wasted in that job.
Oh, brother. You don't know the half of it. Because I think at this point in the conversation, Scott's realizing he doesn't know I've been approached by gods. My cohorts are dealing with bigger shit. So I'm like, I think at this point, Scott is actually relaxing because Oh, he thinks the whole deal is just some smugglers helping get shit to smaller people. I'm like, "Oh, no. I'm actually dealing with titans and gods and baronies."
Let me say something to you, brother. Let me offer to you a thing, an
Okay.
idea, a thought. Let me just put a little seed in your head.
Mhm.
You've been approached by someone who honestly holds to that flower, hear him out, ask some questions, and if you don't like it, I'm here until the end of the
Okay.
first moon of summer.
Alright.
And if you don't like what they have to say, instead of getting upset at them, I will let you get one good punch in.
Yeah, I'm not much of a puncher, but I do appreciate the offer. Um, Guild, I would like to insight check him for a specific reason. I'm trying to measure his level of himbo in this situation. Like, I'm trying to get the idea of, is he trying to just get me to join because he knows, or what's his level of ignorance? It's just kind of that's the kind of read I want to go for. You know what I mean? Like, his heart is I'm trying to see if his heart's probably in the right place. He doesn't realize who he's ultimately working for.
Yeah. Give me the roll.
Uh okay, that's 18.
18? He's got a good idea of like how far up the chain goes, but he doesn't know he doesn't know the top of the chain. But like he seems like he's been in the same town and probably couldn't point them out, but probably
Uh
knows vaguely of the two main players of the two main groups that you know of.
the rats and the ravens.
Right.
Mhm. So are the rats and ravens actually opposing groups?
No.
So they're actually working together, but are acting like they're opposing.
No, they're
No,
not.
they are working together. Okay.
Yeah, they so the rats
I had
are
missed that earlier.
more smuggling are a more
Okay.
smuggling and
Then the ravens
movement
are
group. The
spies.
ravens are spies,
Okay.
and that's the farthest you know.
Yeah, two branches of the same organization.
They are
I
two
get it.
hands. They are two fingers and a hand that is reaching out.
To plant flowers across the entirety of the land. To grow up like a weed everywhere. And Scott's realizing, "Oh, honey, you're just a patsy." You know, just like that,
Like,
like,
oh, you're like this is almost
uh,
he kind of sees it as an MLM, but like not a
yeah.
shitty one.
Are any MLMs actually not shitty?
I remember one.
Yeah.
I just like it's in my head of I
I mean,
know
you
that,
don't have to tell me. I sold Cutco for 2 weeks.
but like there are a handful, like not very many in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
There's like a handful of the like buckets of
Mhm.
bad. There's a handful of like, oh yeah, no, like these are genuinely good, but no one can get close to these ones because of all the other problems.
Mhm. I First of all, Scott is already relaxing because at first he's like, "Am I gonna have to? I'm gonna." Oh, he's just like mom may actually be on the Ravens, so it seems he's a rat. She might be a raven, but that's only two fingers. That's only two branches, and it feel. I don't know if Scott would put together. Maybe there's more, but he's leaving that opposite open. But at the very least, he's like, okay, I don't have to run away. Like I had this whole thought in my head for a minute there that I would disguise, leave town, and my training montage would be me out in the middle of the fucking woods by myself training for a month. It'd be hilarious. I come back, I meet everyone else, and I'm feral. Hi, how you doing? But he's like, all right, well, I don't have a problem with, minor supplies going to help good people. I genuinely don't. Because, yeah, there are aspects of the bureaucracy that are fucked up and used for some messed up shit. I've run into it a bit in these past couple of weeks.
The worst thing that I've ever fucking seen is, oh, hey, we lost a bit of paperwork. Now we got to let this fucking produce rot.
That always bugged me, you know?
And the
Just it's
fact that
just so
you kept
wasteful.
an eye on it, the fact that you made sure that, yeah, it may be rotten, but it's rotten in my care.
Look, I didn't like that part. I just needed to make sure the books were right. Okay,
And
none of the paperwork vanished under my watch.
yeah, and the ones that did get altered, the paperwork that did show up for it, it made it
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. Well, quick question. This is gonna sound random. Ignore it if it is. You ever smuggle armor?
No,
Okay, cool. Never mind. I was dealing with a guy who did.
like, I won't lie, I
Mhm.
have dealt with weapons on occasion, but that's only because unfortunately there is
You win some, you lose some. Look, I honestly don't have a problem with a few crooked dock workers as long as you're not hurting innocent people, you know. Wait, quick question. Were you there at the festival when that all
no.
that shit went down? No, you weren't there?
No,
Okay.
I was
Well,
over in uh another job.
fair enough. I ain't gonna pry, I get that. Okay. I'll tell you what. I've still got a little bit before I gotta decide to do what I gotta do. Mom knows you know. You're gonna have to tell Ma, aren't you, that I know.
Nope.
Okay, I'd appreciate it. Get it. Should I talk to her about it though?
I would.
Yeah.
And I would probably talk to her either right before or right after whatever it is that you got going on with what you got going on.
Yeah.
But last little thing of advice for you, little brother.
Mhm.
If you meet someone who's willing to teach you something that has one of those, like in a range,
Mhm.
like I'd say learn from them, especially with what you're doing.
I know. Speaking of,
Because before the
mhm,
speaking of,
yes.
and he turns and you see him like open palm grab at his sleeve
Mhm.
and throw a knife.
Bonk.
And it hits the tree, and then as soon as it hits the tree, it hits in a shadow, and for a second you see the knife like there, and then it's just an empty mark.
I glance back at his sleeve. I've run into enough magic shit at this point.
That was a small spell. It's not a
Oh,
invoke spell, but
yeah.
it's
It's similar to what a soul knife does.
yeah, more or less. It's a
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
pulled a knife out of the shadow of his sleeve,
Mhm.
like the
Like
bottom of
right
the
in that
shadow,
shadow of the crease, right there.
threw it, it hit, and then disappeared. To be honest, that's the only thing I've learned, like that truly
Hey,
stuck. But
that
if
that's
you
pretty baller.
learn,
Even I don't know how to do that.
you learn from them, because so many people get the metaphors mixed up. It like everyone thinks darkness is darkness is darkness. We're a shadow. We're a
Mhm.
deep shadow that casts over those that have been hidden by another shadow. And yeah, two shadows is a bit darker than the normal light. But there's always someone casting it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Um, well, let's start here. I need to start noticing things more, and I want to get good at handling these because I think we're going in a good direction here. Want
All
to
right.
help me out there?
You got it.
All right. And I guess we spend the next few days
The next few
training.
training, he teaches you how to throw it like extremely well.
Yep.
He is. Am I able to? Are you going after the two open fighting feat?
Either two weapon fighting or thrown weapon fighting, because there's two. Now, what I could do is do two weapon fighting and then take the fighting initiate feat later on and get thrown weapon as well
Or
with
find
it.
a teacher?
Yeah, or find a teacher. Yeah, that's my idea. Is later to do that because I think right now I'm taking either because one of the things I want to do is take either skill expert and expertise my perception and take another skill either like survival or acrobatics or do observant. One or the other, because I take one, I'll take the other at the next one. And then I was hoping to get dual wielder as part of the training too to handle the.
If you want the dual wielder, then he'll train you in that.
Yeah, I think I'll take the. Should I do the dual wielder now or the? No, I think the. Because
Dual
I can
wielder
either
now sounds better.
dual wielder now and then come back and or find someone else to train for the fighting initiate feat to get me the thrown weapon fighting
Yeah.
later on. I can do that with the observant training. I spot you, I throw at you. Yeah.
So
Um,
the next week passes with
mhm.
like quickly, and the week after
E-
starts creeping upon you.
every night after the first few nights of training, when he's gotten used to it, first few nights and days of training, Scott actually prays. He does the rotating cast of all the gods. Just because he's just like, he's trapped in the middle. He knows he's got this deadline. His family's in the middle. Because if he says no, he's gonna have to leave his family. Because that word's gonna come down the vine. um unless he can talk himself out of it. but he's basically reaching out, Navarro, Grekrix, uh Kiki, um uh Doricha, just the whole line of them, just going down like, if any of you could just provide me a little more information. Like hell, he even reaches out to the Baron. He doesn't crack the letter, but he's just like, actually, no, he doesn't reach out to the Baron because he doesn't want the Baron's eyes on this yet. Because he knows the Baron will have an imperfect opinion of things as it regards the Onyx Nightshade. So he's basically spending his days training and his nights praying, researching, studying, examining, putting together all of his notes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what he's been doing. And I think somewhere in there, a package shows up.
Packs will show up after
Yes.
your because here's the big question.
Mhm.
Does Skad take the return meeting to either deny or accept it in person?
When the time comes, I think Scott's sitting there in the night, and it feels like a shadowy door would appear wherever Scott's hanging out. And Scott's like, he knocks on the door.
The door opens.
He steps inside. Um, well, he takes a breath, steps inside, uh, and takes a seat.
Before you start, passes over a mug.
I appreciate the offer for which it's intended. I do not drink it. I'm operating under Feywild rules right now. I'm just not taking any chances.
Yeah.
Um, I have spent time considering your offer and remembering a bit about the organization that you have spawned. Um, the work that your people do is appreciative, and supporting the common person is very important. I don't deny that. And I don't ever want to stop that. The tools you use give me pause. Now, I will tell you this. At this time, I cannot accept this offer, and I'll probably never get it again. And that's my burden to make. But I will say this for any of your organization members that are just doing their thing to help the common people, I will never interfere or do my best to never interfere. Any interference will always be intentional, will end up being unintentional because I just want to do right by everyone. But at this time, I don't think I can accept. I do not want to directly oppose you in your work because the end result is good. But the tools you use, I can't leave her. Not yet.
Talking about the use of shadow and your fear of leaving behind your light.
It's the source of darkness that you attach that shadow to. I don't know enough about it, and that is a risk I cannot take right now.
Darkness isn't something that you are attaching to. You're using the shadows for you. I believe better way of putting this is to show you a difference. May I?
He nods.
He reaches his hand up, waves it around the room just real quick, and it takes a second for your eyes to adjust,
Mhm,
but there is candles all over the room. The shadows seem to creep up onto his body as the lights come up properly,
mhm.
but that's about it. There's two different factors of darkness people think of. There's a third thing that everyone forgets. See, there's a dark. He puts his hand on the table and lifts it up, and you see a shadow skeleton.
Mhm.
The thing that goes bump in the night. To be perfectly honest, not a fan. Things that have died, he'd probably stay that way long
Yeah,
term.
I'm familiar with that one. I got a potential deal for that one right now.
I know. Then there's the one that everyone is terrified of. He puts his hand on the table again, and when he lifts his hand up, there is a genuine absence of light where his hand was. It took a long time for me to be able to learn to do that. And that is not something I teach. Not unless genuinely shown. Because that is dangerous. That is an absence of light. That is an absence of thing.
Mhm.
And then there's the shadows. And he just cups his hand over the table. to create a shadow. And as he's holding his hands there, you see the shadow get darker and darker and darker before he just lets his hands up, and there's a very, very, very minuscule cast of magical darkness.
Mhm.
Hidden behind something else. You can't get this without that. That, as he points to the handprint,
Mhm.
that was a promise I broke to myself. But the shadows, they're just an old friend.
Mhm. I think it's useful at this point to shift the camera and look at Scott because he's different now in
Mm-hmm.
this training. And when you look at him, you see pieces of everyone else. You see the coat that Mealy left him, and in custom made sleeves in the coat. For now, he'll top up either in bandoliers, um, knives ready to be dual wielded, similar to how Silver does with her dual wielded axe. Much smaller, but adopting the melding the swift and harsh attacks with the dancing style of Mealy. Um, you see a bit more embroidered in a bit of fanciness, and the clothes are keen and kept, just like Fiacre. His handwriting's getting better. Um, and um, if one was to look, I think there's a tiny little tattoo, little white glitter tattoo of a star right behind his ear. He hopes one day it can be made magical. And it is at this point he's basically covered in all of his new friends.
Mm-hmm.
He's even been troweling the woods trying to find a new pet to match Philly, but hasn't had any luck. I have speak with animals. I will look.
Uh, every time that you've gone out in
Mhm,
looking for an animal, the
mhm.
very small creatures you find, every time you use speak with animals, they each tell you like it's not safe right now. Like there's
Yeah, trouble
Frederick
out
saw a
there.
dire moose like 2 days ago.
Ah, shit. Yeah, Scott's been making note of each of these. So, but yeah, um, Philly's new. We'll have time to add
Add Philly.
their add Philly to the outfit. I think Scott's sitting there. The whole day he had finished most of his training. He's gotten pretty good at what he's done, but he just sits there and he looks at this figure giving their sermon, as it were. I think one last time, like Scott prepared himself to go into this conversation, and he wants to give one last insight check.
Before Scott gives an insight check,
Okay.
your passive perception does glance around the room.
Which would have gone up to a 17 by this point.
Not only up to the 17 by this point, but there's now more light in the room.
Mhm.
And Scott sees something that he hasn't that he wasn't able to notice before because the shadows in here are, as you were realizing
Mhm.
now, the shadow that is in the room is a almost unnatural shadow that is a part of him.
Mhm.
And you notice that up on a spot behind him, like where he sits, where he sat last time,
Mhm.
there's a mask, a wooden mask that looks to be hand carved. A little bit farther along the wall, there is a couple paintings and hand drawings. Much, much visibly older work of Cerrah's,
Of what?
of the dragons.
Oh, okay.
There is a trying to remember all the points through it. There is a neon yellow coat hanging on a coat rack in the corner. Like it is an ugly coat. Like
Mhm. Yeah.
even even Phil would go, that's loud. There's
Okay.
a bow hanging by the door. And the last thing that you didn't fully realize is there is a shield. You recognize the shield. This shield looks a lot newer, but it's the same shield, just much older, still in the room. It is a round shield with a hand painted onyx nightshade bloomed. He is surrounded by things of people that he has outlived, of a party that once was with him. And he is currently focused solely on Skad.
That spots all that. Does he so Scott would recognize the equipment from the vision, correct?
No,
The memory?
no, none of it.
Okay. Okay, so this isn't of the
This is
old.
much older.
Oh, how did they die?
Most of them naturally. He looks over at the coat. He just finally gave up his rage. Right under his big job, built a beautiful place in Mandan. Finally took the nap. She gave me the mask and left. Fucking splitting headache when that happened, but Sorka was a good friend. He died in the war, he says as he looks at the shield.
Mm.
And then finally over to his sword tucked in the corner. He I would say he didn't make it out of the fight.
I'm stealing a tool from a TV show called Lie to Me. When people get emotional, they aren't as able to cover themselves. I would like to now insight check him to see his sincerity of the offer and if I'm going to end up going to the black. Because for those watching, above the table, we have had a conversation of a certain theming, and I'm pretty sure this is what this is about, but I'm trying to make sure that it's God that knows. So I would like to do one last insight check. You know what? We're pulling out the dungeon dice. I'll need to replace the batteries in this thing. That, my DM, is a dirty 20.
He is 100% genuine with you. He is offering you shadows. He is offering you a darkness that retreats at the light. He's offering you tools that you use. And he is offering you a way out.
God is terrified right now because it seems so enticing, so encouraging. But would that darkness that retreats from life, would that way out take him away? It wouldn't.
One last roll.
Okay. I think my next question is he directly opposed to the Nine Tails? Yeah.
No, I'm trying to figure out what would be the best
Yeah.
skill to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Your history is only a +1, isn't it?
Correct. I don't have proficiency in any of my intelligence skills.
That includes Arcana too, doesn't it?
Correct. So I could just roll a normal gay intelligence check.
Are you proficient in nature?
I am not. None of the intelligence skills.
Wait. Oh yeah, that is an intelligence.
Yep.
Weird.
As nature, religion, investigation, arcana, because those are all about recalling information and history. And then animal handling, insight, perception, survival,
Survival.
wisdom. Survival. I'm not proficient, but it's a wisdom-based roll. Okay, 16.
Because you're you're from a port city.
Mhm.
You have seen it's rare.
Yeah.
They're rare. But you've seen Azamar that wear masks.
So there's at least a neutral, if not positive, connection. There's not a direct animosity as far as I can tell.
And you also notice that the markings
Mhm.
on the mask that is above him is markings of someone that won. Oh, because you've been around her, you do get this for free. Two things. One,
Okay.
you notice that is a mask that would be worn by an Azamar.
Mhm.
The way it is designed and shaped, that is for a specific type of Azamar. As the DM, you probably
Okay.
know. As a fellow DM, you know what the
Oh
subclass
yeah.
is. Yeah.
I've played Asmar several times. They're one of my favorite.
Yeah. And you also notice markings on it
Mhm.
of someone who, at one point in their life, lived in the barony of the Golden Rose.
He's just as he's thinking, he
And
locks in.
every time that Dionysus
Mhm.
ever talks about that person, while he ever mentions of like headache, you're pretty sure that whoever it is used a spell of like, you know what, you're a little bit of an annoying shit. Ow, 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 ow.
The fun
Yeah, like I'm gonna
ribbing.
give you a headache because you're giving me a ha headache. Like, it's the retaliation of a sibling. He refers to this person fondly, consistently. No
Mm.
insight required. You feel it. Same way that Skad talks about Skirp. There are times where it's that moment like, yeah, and like he's a bit of a
Scott
dick.
talks about silver.
Yeah, like it's the way the Skad talks about Silver. Like I do talk shit, but like at the end of the day,
I got your
I'd
back.
kill for you.
Yeah. I think Scott's been just putting all this together. Everything's been wild and crazy, and he's trying to, and then he sees the mask, he sees the story, and then the symbol, and then the flash of memory. As long as I don't lose her. And he pulls from his pocket the letter from Baron Dumont and sets it on the table. And as long as you don't have me directly opposing anybody who just either is neutral or means goodwill to good people, regardless of their rank.
I am mildly offended.
No, I'm just saying, like, people in power, just because they're in power, we can't be hating on them. You know, we didn't
Oh,
want to be hating.
again, I'm mildly offended. I ended up in a position of power. And I did the right thing for the right causes. As long
He
as
glances at the dark handprint. Just
as you do that, like he takes the shadow and wipes it over and the handprint goes away. As long as you follow 3 simple tenets that I will that is going to be our deal.
Mhm.
Then we should be fine.
All right.
1, always for the betterment of everyone.
Mhm.
2, help those that need the help.
Mhm.
3, do not I want to word this properly so it's not mixed up. 'Cause I understand some of the things I've said I've mixed up recently. Do not bring to light but can't survive the light. If it was not born there. To explain.
Don't summon darkness beasts from beyond time.
To explain in a better way.
Mhm.
If something is born in the light and chooses to go to the darkness, and exposing it back to the light would do bad, don't do it.
Mhm.
Now, if something is born in the darkness and is festering there, by all means. And he raises his hands for a second, and the lights and the candles burn brighter for a moment. before he dims it back down.
Thanks. Gonna need some of those sunglasses you got.
By all means, bring it to the light.
Bringing something to the light must be good for both the thing being brought to the light and for the greater good.
Exactly. And if bringing it to the light doesn't help the greater good, which I'll do my best to let you know if something like that is
Mhm.
on the edge. My hands are out there.
Okay. Um, I will appreciate that. I just had one right there. Oh, actually, two things. One, my friend made a deal with. You know what? Screw it. I am pulling out the note here. I need to find that name. I'm gonna kick myself if I don't have it. Where'd I put you? Go back. Do, 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 do. Oh no, I gotta go back even farther. Thank you.
Hmm.
Um, one of my dear friends is sworn to Baroness Warwick. That won't be a problem, will it? My friendship with her?
No.
Okay, good. Just needed checks. I'm sorry. I have to make sure I get all my ducks in a row.
I've had
Um,
people that moved to us from everywhere.
mm,
Remember, acceptance, not bigotry. Those who show those traits, swift kick,
yes.
and repeat it if it's repeated.
I think the reason I want to ask more is if the Baroness ever found out, she wouldn't want to kill me, will she?
She's alive and she didn't transcend death like someone else. He says as he looks to the letter.
Oh, got a bit of drama there.
He's a vampire. He transcended death.
Yeah.
There's a difference between transcending death and transcending life.
Yeah, that's for somebody much smarter than me. Scott's just.
And that's perfectly fine. Some things
Okay.
are above your pay grade, and
Yeah.
just understand another
Mhm.
thing. If you take this deal, you're going to get a little bit of a hate. You're going to get a little hate from a handful of people.
That was my next question. The gods. Okay, we're good there?
Oh, the adventurers. Yeah.
Yes.
They I
Gods.
backed a couple of them in the day.
Okay, good. Because they've got us on a whole thing. We already know
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, cool.
But no, here's the thing.
Mhm.
You know the ravens and the rats.
Yeah.
There's also the wolves.
Okay.
They are
Scott scribbling his notes.
they're a strike group designed
Okay.
for protection.
Mhm.
Think Adventurers Guild, but they
Yeah.
get letters from
You.
the night.
Yeah. Get in, kill shit, get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's for the betterment of protecting people.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta kill a motherfucker.
Exactly. You get it.
Yeah, I've had to do that a million times already.
And the thing is, those three pillars all go out to a single point.
Mhm.
And currently at that point, there is one very tired person who was at the wrong bar on the wrong day. And I'm pretty sure that person would like to have a little bit of a buffer between them and him. You catch my drift?
The person at the point wants a buffer between the branches.
Exactly.
They don't wanna have to deal directly with the issues.
Well, they'd like someone that can look at those issues in an objective manner, or as objective as possible,
Yeah.
and help guide and be the buffer between of sometimes they ask stupid questions that they know the answer is yes or no
Mhm.
already, and they just want to hear someone else say yes or no. And
Okay.
if it's a
So they
simple,
just need a front desk person.
more or less,
Okay.
they want a barkeep.
I don't know if I'm cut out for tavern work. You mentioned I was gonna get hate from some people too. I think we skipped over that. Is that this?
That's
No,
this.
that's
Because here's the thing, I,
mhm,
within this, am basically hiring you
mhm.
to be manager over them. And they've been in this for a minute, and you've kind of just stumbled your way into.
Oh. Oh, it's sorta like hiring the guy fresh out of university to be the boss of the organization over someone who spent decades, elf sages, um, working their way up from janitor to the top.
Kind of,
Tread
yeah.
l Okay, tread lightly, I get that. I hope I hope it's not the same person we're thinking of.
Who do you think it is?
Green scaly persuasion?
Oh, no,
Oh,
no. She's a close friend of mine, though.
good, good. Yes, she's lovely.
I know, right?
Mm,
Uh, her teenage years were not that great, but
yeah, when are they ever? So, I
what do you
guess
say?
I'll find out who this person is then?
Oh, the one at the top?
Yeah.
He reaches out and takes the letter. Oh, simple. And he holds it over one of the candles over his head, and it just bursts into a purple flame that
I forgot
uh
one question, we'll figure it out.
some as some purple rose petals fall and then ignite in a black fire. That person at the top just hired you. I'm tired of being the go-to.
I'm sorry, the fuck? Uh, did you just put me in charge of an entire Black Ops organization across this entire continent?
Across this one continent. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we're gonna deal with the others as they come, dude. Does this mean you're retiring?
No,
Effectively? I can no.
no.
Oh,
I just
you
I just want the stupid questions to not have to bounce at me every other fucking minute.
And when I get one of them wrong?
If you can't make the decision quickly, then it's not a stupid question. And it needs thought, which is where I'll step in.
Okay, that
Like,
makes sense.
I am
So,
tired
"Hey,
of,
there's a
hey,
guy,
do we need to,
trafficking people, should we kill him?" "Yes!"
yeah. Or another one is, hey, we hear this part of town isn't getting as much food and clothing shipments
Mhm.
because
Okay.
of some corrupt dickweed over here. Should we take these bits of extra that we have and move it over there? What do you
Yes!
think?
Yeah,
We
do
wanted to ask.
that, and then while you're at it, send some ravens to figure out why the fuck this guy what the fuck's this guy's deal, find some dirt on him, then take him out.
Thank you. Thank you. You get it. It's so simple. And yet,
Yeah.
and yet, like,
Herding
y-
cats at a dock all day long, you get used to a few things. Wait a minute. Does this mean I am the boss of both my mother and my brother?
in a
Oh,
roundabout way, yes.
yeah. I don't think I'm gonna mention that to them for a while.
I probably wouldn't, especially with the fact that, well, she has her own reasons.
Fair enough. I trust her.
Yeah.
Mm. Or at least I'll come to trust her again. Gotta talk to my dad. Haven't seen him in a while. Hope he shows back up soon. Oh, there was one other thing.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to tell you that.
Yeah, that's fair. You want to keep the mystery alive.
No, no. That just means that some people have been forgetting to mention something that should be obvious.
That's
But
fair. That's fair.
admittedly,
Um,
to be perfectly fair, your brother's a bit of a, how do I put that?
really? You noticed too? Look, I love him. I
He's
really do.
he's got a
He's
good
great.
heart.
He's adorable. Yeah. Knows how to handle a weapon too. Taught me a few things I get to put to use in these upcoming in the trip we're on. Yeah. Um, so I guess if people have dumb questions, they come to me first. And if it's not a dumb question, I'll send them on to you.
Exactly.
However that happens. Um,
You'll
I'm a
know
s-
when you know.
I'll know when
Just
I know.
if it's a question that's not if it's a not dumb question,
Mhm,
just say, because it is a genuine statement,
mhm.
above your pay grade.
Yeah, sorry, that one's above my pay grade.
There you go.
There we go. Yep, that's easy.
Admittedly, I might bring your pay grade up more later, but that's
Yeah,
down the
we
road.
can.
That's stuff that we need to talk about later.
As a side note, do I feel anything different about me? Like a certain hunger going away?
Not only that,
Mhm,
but you actually feel a like coldness
mhm,
over your back, like your lower back,
mhm.
for just a moment.
That was that tattoo going away, right?
It's the
Yeah.
tattoo going away.
Yeah. This is, well, we'll find out if I ended up making the right choice, won't I?
I hope you did.
Me too. Me too. Um,
But at the end of the
one
day, you're the only one that makes that choice.
yeah, ain't
At
that
least
the
you should
God's
be.
honest truth? Yeah. One last thing. In terms of my party members, my associates, would you rather I keep this from them for the time being or make that decision on my own?
User discretion.
Of course.
I'd not broadcast it.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I mean,
Have my eyes changed color? Have the
n-
red rings gone?
not from what Scott can see.
Well, yeah, I don't have a mirror right now. Oh, actually, here, I pull out a dagger. Look at the reflection.
Not only are the red rings gone,
Mhm.
so is the like super darkness that was in the back. That your eyes had changed
Mhm.
to. Your eyes are their normal color again.
Cool. I'll try and do this right and keep any stupid questions off your back.
And
Um,
remember, for lack of a better terminology, you are now part of a much larger underground organization.
yeah,
Keep that in mind.
I'm part of something bigger. Again, what does that make? No, I'm still at 2 groups because I traded one for another and then the other for this one. Um, I just hope well, we'll see how that one turns out. Um, One last thing I would like to add to our deal.
Ask away.
I don't ever want to go to that. And I point at the place where the darkness was.
Oh, where
Oh,
the like blackout handprint was?
yeah. I wanna I may sometimes have to walk the line to use it to make the world a better place. Somebody's gotta do it. But if I ever cross it, stop me there. Just end me.
I will not teach you to use the void, nor will I expose you to it.
Yeah,
Now, the world out there be it their powers of their own.
yeah.
Nothing I give you bring into the void. Just remember, if you can't find the light, just tell someone to move away. Just tell someone to move to the side a little bit, and you'll see her face again.
Okay. I appreciate that. But seriously, if I ever start dabbling in that stuff, seriously, just kill me. Spare us all the trouble.
I'll
I
do what
don't
I can.
plan on it, but it's better to have some safety mechanisms in place. If
I'll
I'm
see
gonna
what I can
protect
do.
my friends, excellent. I should probably get out of your hair. I got some training to finish up. So I should finish that. Unless there's anything else you need from me right now.
Not at the moment. Skad Utan of the Onyx Nightshade.
Works much better for my theming. Like the purple rose was cool and all. Like, don't get me wrong, I love me a good purple. But at the same time, not a fan of dead bodies.
Remember, never forget, Nightshade is deadly on its own.
Yeah.
Be careful
All
out there.
right. That is definitely the plan, Master.
Don't do that.
I won't. We're good. I had to try it on for sight. What is the honorific you would prefer me to use?
Call me Dio.
Dio.
Short for Dionysus.
Yes, but not ever Mr. D.
No.
Sorry, I'm coming down from a lot of high stress. I'm gonna be a bit manic for the next few hours.
Quite all right.
All right.
And
Well,
if you want your ale, you can.
oh yeah, why the hell not? Down it in one go.
When you down it, you notice it's the same kind of brew that was at the manor.
Well, At least I know I've got a few contacts there if I need to call upon them.
That you do.
All right. I'm gonna see how my mom's doing. I don't think I'll tell her yet, but in time, if things come out, we can have those conversations. Still my ma, after all. I give a bow, Dio. Look forward to our continued work. And then I walk out the door.
You get out, you make your way back to like
Make it my way.
when you actually get out, you realize that you are just outside of town when let out.
Yeah. Oh.
And as you're walking into town, the town feels a little different. And as you're walking around, you're starting to notice little things here and there. A fresh pair of clothes on someone's back, a kid that was not wearing boots the first day that you walked in has a fresh pair of boots. The smell of fresh food baking on the wind.
Mm.
You're seeing the small things here and there.
That hut got freshly painted. That one had that hole in the roof finally fixed.
The materials finally got shown up.
Mm.
It's almost as if something was moved out of the way and you're seeing it.
Mm.
This isn't just your home. This is a home for so many
Yeah.
people. When you finally get back to the house, there is your mom sitting at the table laughing, looking at there's three people in the room.
Mm.
Your mom sitting at the table, laughing, talking. Your brother looking a little awkward, sitting on the cabinet
Mm.
that keeps a lot of the dishware, like inside.
Yeah. The china cabinet. I get
Yeah.
it.
And there's a woman with her back to you. She looks kind of familiar, but you can't quite place it.
Hey, Ma, Scarp, who's our guest?
Oh, honey, before introduction range, um, I do apologize. I was doing a little bit of extra cleaning, doing the laundry and all that. And I noticed that there was a thing up in your room.
Thing?
Yeah, box.
Oh,
Don't know
I
if
think I
it's
know what
something
that
that
is.
you uh like wasn't there this morning. I just
I think I know what it is. I think whoever it was delivered it to the right time.
She looks at you a bit confused and
I've been dealing with some weird shit.
you can tell that the person who has their back to you, she is like shifting in her seat a bit, looking a bit uncomfortable.
Let's stop torturing the guest, Ma. I can deal with that in a minute. Then I walk up to the table and around to the front of this individual to get a look at him.
You recognize the face a good bit. The makeup is a bit contrasting to what your memories have,
Mhm.
but everything else is slowly matching up. The long hair really threw you off because it's been a long time. She looks up to you and gives a fairly sheepish smile. I I guess there's a bit of reintroductions. Eh, son?
Ah, no need, Ma. And I give her a hug. Welcome back home. Was your trip successful?
Things got done.
All we can ever ask, right?
All we can ever ask.
Yeah. So did these two fill you in on what I've been up to?
Uh, Not really. I got in a couple hours ago, and I've
Oh,
been trying to get this one, nods over to Skirp, to start coming to terms.
yeah. It'll come around. Uh, well, you tell me yours, I'll tell you mine.
Why don't you go deal with something that, the thing that Ma talked about, and
Yeah, sounds good.
we'll go over dinner.
Excellent. Pop upstairs. And the box is there, I take it.
There's a fairly, like a good sized box.
Mhm. Um, a part of me wants there to be a lockpick puzzle, but I know you probably won't have that on there.
There is a lock on the box.
Mm. Pull out my lockpicks and I go to it.
Try as you might, for some, like, it feels familiar, but you can't seem to get it.
uh, hmm. Is there a letter or an envelope on top of the box?
No, but this box, it doesn't look familiar, but it does have a. It doesn't look familiar, but there is an air of familiarity to it.
Yeah. Hmm.
One DM note to another. I'm taking something that you said offhand and tossing it to you
Oh
as
shit.
fun for me.
Okay. And I have no idea what that is because there's so much I've said offhand. Um, I guess I'll investigate it or try and figure it out. I mean, hey, that's a natural 20.
So the box looks pretty old.
Mhm.
Looks like it's probably been out in the weather for a bit. There's a bit of moss growing on it, and you actually recognize the moss. It's a moss that actually grows around this area.
Is it from the glade by the doors?
No,
No. Okay. Hmm. Okay, so it's been sitting out in the woods. Is it
like something that you said that you found.
oh, um, oh god, I forgot what I said I found. I go get whatever I found. I'm like, "Oh, I forgot what I."
So you go to your little secret drop
Oh,
box,
yeah.
and you go through
D
rummaging through, and then you, like, as you're going through stuff, like, this looks so
Yes.
familiar. This looks so familiar.
Whatever.
Then it hits you, that random key that you found lost in the forest.
Yeah, yeah, I just eh, are you fucking kidding me? Little bastard curator loves fucking with my timeline. I stick it in and unlock it.
This weird shaped key, but you've never seen a lock like it. There's a part that sticks down that
Yeah.
you had to
So I
pick
gotta
down and pick to the left at the same time. Which is why you couldn't figure out like how to pick this lock. Like there's
yeah, because it's not a
something
normal tumbler.
no, it's not. It's a weird, stupid tumbler. But you turn the key and you open it up, and inside is what looks to be at first glance, just a pile of leather straps with
Hmm.
some larger leather chunks at it. But when you
Well,
pick it
I'm
up,
not normally into this stuff.
it is a like under the arm holster for knives, and there is slotting for 6.
I slot my daggers in,
And there are already 2 knives in there. And there's a note at the bottom.
pick up and read the note.
Hope this found you well. Finds you well.
Mhm.
Thought this could be useful. More payment needed. Shiny sword for shiny thing.
I run downstairs as soon as I read that. Hey, Maz, skirt, just a second. Put it in, shut it, and then I leave the box there and go back downstairs to converse with my family.
The evening goes well. Finding out that one of your parents
Yeah,
transitioned during
that was a
the
surprise.
months and over a season that you were away,
Mm.
that the final realization point was after was just before the new moon, before the Sun Song Festival, and she was already on the road when she came to the final terms of it. The fact that Ma and Mother are
Yeah, that's
still
gonna get confusing.
no, it does actually keep it separate because Ma
Yeah,
is
I'm just gonna have to take time to make sure I figure out which one's getting which.
well, no, they tell you like at the table, like
Okay, good.
I'll stay Ma and
Ma and
she's
mother.
she'll be Mother. Like it makes it
Okay, that
easier for
works for me. Thank
everyone.
you. Yep. I just needed to know those logistics. I'm good there.
Yeah. But like those little bits together and brother's still a little not like off put, but just someone like I thought I was
Confused.
smart enough to realize ahead of time. It's like I've
Hey, I
done
didn't see this
missions.
coming. I'll be honest, sir. I didn't see this coming.
I I've been on trips with her and eh,
It happens.
I mean, wait, does that mean that I get to take a lot of your old clothes? And like the conversations divulge from there of like
Mhm. Yeah.
the days pass, the weeks run through, spring is coming near to an end. In the early part of the last week of the last moon of spring, during one of your training moments with Skirp, a
Mhm.
elven man walks up to you. Uh, Mr. Skad?
Present. I look him up
Uh,
and down. I figure out he's not part of the nightshade.
yeah. He pulls out 2 letters. Mail for you.
Wow, double dose. Do they look different? Do they look the
They
same?
look different.
They look different. Uh, I'll let you pick which one I open first. So I open one.
First one that you open is just a folded up bit. It's folded up. There's a bit of string and wax dripped all over the little bow knot.
Okay.
When you open it up, the letter inside is very short, sweet,
Mhm.
and to the point. Heard you're my new contact. Fuck your green little head. All the love, Raven Queen.
I've caused her trouble too. I've caused them trouble, right? With the work I've done.
As you're noticing, there's 2 other pieces of paper with this.
Uh huh.
Second piece of paper. Welcome to the family. Not sure if I'm inviting you to the cookout.
God hurts at that part.
Uh, Rat King.
Uh,
And the third and final one reads, always proud of you. Always love you. See you when I get home. Wolf Night.
you bastard. You absolute bastard.
My parents were married when they had me.
Motherfucker. He's Scott reads the first two. He's cackling at the first one and a little miffed, but cackling at the second one. Then gets to the holy shit. No, you don't get to find out yet. And I just look at Skirby like, you ain't get to find out this one yet.
And do you go to put them away? Like in your coat?
Um, yeah,
And
yeah. I slot him away because
as you move to start putting them away,
mhm,
your brother immediately like reaches his hand out, grabs your wrist, and just like lifts it up.
okay.
Stupid hairs. Uh, and like just twists your arm for a second as your hand just like opens up. And as it's leaving your hand, the letters burst into fire.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All of our letters. I saw one of the symbols on there. You
I
for future.
I get
Any
it.
letter that
Still
is
new at this
passed
job.
between us, any of them are to be burned or will burn shortly
All right.
after reading. No trails.
God just looks at him very coolly, understanding that Scott outranks him by a bit, but hasn't told him yet, and just says, I understand. You can let me go now.
Let's go of your wrist. Didn't want you to get burned.
Well, I do appreciate that. And no, I ain't telling you.
I I ain't gonna ask. That is
But there
part of the
will come a
rule.
day when you may find out, and I think you'll get a kick out of it.
I got a kick out of finding out that you just joined.
Oh, you have no idea, big brother.
As you go to open up the next letter, the paper is very old, very
Mm.
worn. It's sealed with a bit of wax that was dripped off of some candle, and it was pressed sealed with a rock. No house markings, nothing fancy.
The joy and amusement from that earlier moment just simmers down with this being replaced by confusion.
You pop it
Takes out
open.
one of the daggers, pops it open.
As you read it, it is a fairly simple, straightforward letter. Head to the grove north of the manor. Directions below. Be there as soon as possible. Your future is ready. The game starts.
Well, guess I'm missing that other meeting.
Additionally,
Mm-hmm.
roll me a perception check. At advantage, you are able to get close to it.
Yep. Perception with advantage, which is now a +7. Oh, yes. That is a 25.
This isn't written in ink.
Ugh. The blood.
Something's blood.
You just buy it at the store. You don't gotta kill an animal for something to write with. Goodness gracious. Fold it up, shove it in my pocket. Well, shit. Skirt. Hold on, my hand. I gotta get back to work.
Looks to your hand for a second, then up to your face. Bats it with the back of his hand, reaches in and brings you into a big hug.
Yep. Hey, can you squeeze right there? My back's a little stiff. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's what I needed. Thank you.
Fun fact: when I did that, I actually popped my back.
So I say bye to him, head home, say bye to Ma and Mother, give them both big hugs as I finish packing up. And as I give Mother a hug, I whisper, "Thank you for your note. It was very kind." And I gather my gear, look at Mom's on the wall, leave it. I'll probably on the way, probably just get like a small mundane bow, just have it in my back pocket just in case shit goes down. But I stand at the door, all my stuff's packed away, ready to go. Good hunting, both of you. And I leave and get back on the road.
And that, the end of this story. Thank you all so much for watching. I look forward to picking up this story in book 2 with all of you when we bring the players back together. Until next time, be well, roll safe, and enjoy the tavern.
And yes, Scott is right behind you. Hey, y'all. It's your friendly neighborhood goblin, Skad. Thank you for watching this episode of Tales from the Ten Lands. If you like this kind of stuff, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so we can let you know whenever we post a new session. You can also catch us live every first and third Tuesday of the month at 6:30 p.m. Central Time over on twitch.tv/BlackBarrelTavern. Until next time, be well, roll safe, enjoy the tavern, and yes, I am right behind you.